Oh, hello.
Hey.
We're live now in the pre-show for the Kind of Funny Games cast. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Kev, can you bring up the chat, please?
Hell yeah, I can bring up the chat.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's going to be a fun one today. I can feel it. Fran is joining us. We got Kat Bailey as well.
Hello, everybody.
As always. Barrett here, though, for the pre-show, just a little
Yo,
bit.
what's up?
Why are you here?
Why am I here? Because Fram's fucking late.
Yeah.
He just came in. I think he's being
That
let
might
up
be
in.
him. We don't even know that it's him.
Yeah.
Could
It's
be
a
packaged
it's a
delivery.
50-50 chance. Anyway, I'm here to talk about last week we pre-recorded a segment that you'll throw to in the regular show. But I've been playing a little bit of that Outer Worlds. I'm really, really digging it. It gives me the kind of not classic Fallout, like not Fallout 1, 2 vibes, but it brings me back to Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and for good and bad reasons. Bad being the UI. Awful, just
Yes.
god awful.
Fucking terrible.
That map might be the worst map in any game. And people are asking me, oh, worse than Control? Yes. Fucking yes. That map is awful.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
And then, but the gameplay itself and going through the story for the first, I think, 3 or 4 hours at this point, I am really enjoying it. And it brings back those systems from that the style of RPG that we all know and love. And I'm excited to get more into it. And the one thing I will say is it was jarring. We were talking about this a little bit yesterday. It was jarring from going from a certain game that I was playing, which is a first-person shooter that I was replaying to talk for Jared Petty's Top 100 Games podcast. Going from that, which is a shooter, to this, where it's like, oh, things aren't as tight as I want them to be. But it's still, but I had to get myself in the right mindset of like, no, that's not what this game is. It might present itself that way, but that's not what these games truly are great first-person shooters. So I've been digging it. I don't know.
I think given that given how bad the shooting in Fallout is,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that
It's a step up.
I never
the fact
shot.
that it's passable,
Yeah, exactly.
that's a huge step up.
Yeah, exactly.
I never shot a gun without VATS in Fallout.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I like it. I don't.
Shotgun.
Yeah, even shotgun. I'd always use the VATS because I guess never really occurred to me that would be a normal shooter at any point.
Yeah, Fallout 4 definitely tried to do a little bit more presenting itself as a normal shooter because you could finally aim down sights, which I did appreciate a lot. But yeah, besides that, I'm enjoying it. I'm going to leave now and go do work. But
Yeah.
Bye.
Chat's asking, is that a Dragon Ball shirt? Yes, it's a
Nice to meet you.
Goku Frieza shirt.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like your shirts. You have good shirts.
Yeah,
Always.
I pick up. I just go to Uniqlo like, hey, I like that license. I'm just gonna buy that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do a good job with that for the most part.
I wish Uniqlo had better shirts for women because they look like pajama shirts. You know?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
wish they had better shirts for people that are over the size of just large.
No,
in
that's why I
general.
love it because like it's a Japanese store, so like a tiny person like me gets sizes that I can find and like
Yeah.
fit me fine.
Yeah, it's very Gia size. I've never gotten a single thing at Uniqlo that I can wear in my existence.
Ignacio is asking if the shooting in Fallout is bad. Yes, it's quite bad. It feels really floaty. It doesn't have any like particular weight to it. It's totally geared around the VAT system.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a game where you're kind of creeping along, and it's a game where you want to get the sniper rifle and basically VATS people headshot them from 20 yards out while
Yeah.
you're in stealth mode. So
Yeah, Outer Worlds shooting not much better, enough better, enough that like if you use it, like you're not gonna go like ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always good.
Yeah.
Put it on the box. You're not going to go, ew.
So Eamon Martin's asking a question that's squarely in my wheelhouse, which is, what's all your favorite Star Wars video game?
Ooh, okay.
And that's an easy one for me.
Oh, it's easy for me too.
Okay, what's yours?
Now, here's the thing. Is the quality of this game up to par? Probably not, but I don't care. Jedi Power Battles
Oh my god.
is the answer.
Wow.
I level 99 every single character in the game. I love that fucking game.
That's the beat 'em up, right?
and-
Oh,
yeah.
no,
It's
that's the fighting game.
It's no, that's Masters of Terra.
Oh my god, my
It's
bad.
Jedi Power Battles it's episode 1. It's the story of episode 1. But you get to choose one of 5
Right.
characters to play as. You can do Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Plo Koon, Mace Windu. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just 4 characters.
Plo Koon,
And yeah,
the guy you want to play as, man.
Plo Koon was my dude. I loved him. His abilities were just great. But you played through, it was co-op, so you'd play with 2 players. And God, it was like slightly isometric view, and it was always inconvenient to do any platforming at all. But God, it was so much fucking fun going through it. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know, but I had a blast. I want me and Andy to do like a full playthrough of that game now, just to see how horrible.
Do Star Wars
it
games
is.
in review.
It's real bad.
God, yeah.
TIE Fighter, however,
Yeah.
That was
is,
actually going to be my answer as well.
I think, the best Star Wars game ever made and one of the best games ever. Like, it's so good. When you're playing it, it takes you back to a time when Star Wars felt more like a universe and less like a comic book film. Like, it really takes the whole kind of military aspect really seriously, and it's the only Star Wars game I can think of where it really genuinely is all in on the Empire angle.
Yeah.
Because in Battlefront 2, they made a big deal of you being in the Empire, but
They
halfway
switched
through,
that
you
shit.
defect
Not
to the
even
rebels.
halfway. I feel like it's like a third through the game.
It's like, okay, screw all of that. Now you're working with Han Solo. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
And he has a beard.
TIE Fighter has
All
that
right.
cool thing where like there's kind of separate storylines starting to coalesce as like you take missions from the Empire and from like the Sith.
I love you, Fred. So goddamn. How you
I
doing?
didn't want to interrupt.
Welcome.
What's your favorite
We
Star
haven't
Wars
met
game?
yet, by the way, ever. I don't
This
think.
is
right?
Kat. This is Fran.
We
How you
haven't, right?
doing? I mean, we've talked on Twitter and stuff
Yes,
like that.
that's the extent of it.
But
Fran,
here we
nice
are,
meeting you.
same room
I
at
know.
last.
Pleasure. I'm
Wow.
excited.
Fran, what's your favorite Star Wars game of all time?
Oh man, these all-time questions, Tim. You know I'm terrible on the fly.
There's so many questions. Well, when you say all time,
of
do you mean-
mind. I'll be honest, like none of them well, actually no, I guess I've always been a fan of Rogue Squadron, like the first one. The second one was all right as well. But anyway, I like the flying and the shooting and all that stuff. Kind of like TIE Fighter, absolutely.
Rogue Leader is so good.
The N64 game more than the GameCube game?
Yeah, as I recall. Because didn't the GameCube one have the ground stuff
No,
in
that
it?
was-
No,
three.
the,
I mean,
third-
like
the second GameCube game had the ground stuff. The
Yes.
second one was just more of a like a shooter. Or flying
yeah,
shooter.
The
Probably.
first GameCube game, the second Rogue Squadron, was a launch title for GameCube.
Yeah, Rogue
Yeah.
Leader.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about.
Okay.
It's been so long. I think I even was involved in those reviews that I forgot. I thought that the first few, I think in my mind, I was thinking one of them was on Wii. That's how messed up
Yeah,
I am.
no.
No,
There
of
was
course, I
one
know.
on Wii.
I did the strategy guide for
I
Battle
think?
for Naboo.
No.
There was either one on
strategy
Wii
guide
or one
for
in
Battle for
development for Wii
Naboo.
that got canceled.
Damn.
I did the Battle for Naboo strategy guide for IGN.
Oh my God.
That was
That's
my first like
hardcore.
big assignment on top of the normal job.
Battle for Naboo, go!
Yes, and I wanted to die. It was like, because that was back when they would just be like, hey, I know you got your normal job and you got to play these games and do the review. Also, can you do the strategy guide for this? And it was like, you're just up till 1 a.m. writing
Okay.
strategy guides, and that's how it was going.
There was
See,
going to
Imran's-
be
Battle
a
for Naboo was good.
Star Wars Rogue Leaders was supposed to be on Wii. It was unreleased. It was mostly finished. It had lightsaber battles.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That also was long time. Yeah, I forget how much has been said about it. It'd been sitting there for a
Yeah,
while.
the link I
There
saw was on IGN. So
Yeah.
I assume you had something to do with that video.
So I figured that Imran was looking up Fran's old reviews so that he could like check against him. Here's
All I
what you
didn't-
said back in 1999.
All I need to know
right?
is about Double Dash, and that's the only thing I will call Fran out on.
The Rogue Squadron games, both the N64 one and the GameCube one, over time I ended up liking the GameCube one a lot, but I always didn't love them because they didn't feel like Star Fox. And I felt like
Yes.
they should have felt like Star Fox 64
Really?
did. But that's just
such
me
a
being a
different
dumb
game.
kid.
I don't know. It's better
Yeah.
than Star Fox. And I say this as somebody who thinks Star Fox 64 is one of the greatest games ever made. Like, it's an all-time favorite. But Rogue Leader, first of all, it looks good today.
Yeah.
It was an incredible technical showcase on the GameCube. Everybody's
GameCube
like,
games have that
yeah.
something about them. Like the look, that when the art styles are done right, they just are
Yeah.
timeless.
It has the best
480p
trench.
at launch.
It has the best trench run out of any of the
Yeah,
Star
and
Wars
it's-
games.
Actually, that's right.
start
It
with
is
that?
Rogue Leader, I
Isn't that
Yeah.
the first level?
That's
The first level. You're
It's
fighting on the
fucking
Death
trench
Star.
run. Yeah, like I always
It's
that
amazing.
I loved,
They-
but I just remember I wished it felt more like honestly linear.
like yeah, you wanted that linear arcade game instead of the. I mean, it was one of the more challenging things to do is turning around in that game. There was ways to do it, but it always felt. I always described it as felt like it was on the end of a stick. It still worked really well, but your ship always felt like it was on the end of this like stick, which I think for people was just like there's something
See,
about
that's why
it.
TIE Fighter was the best.
yeah,
I remember being.
I never got into the PC games just because
Oh.
I'm a baby.
Actually, and am I crazy, or was the very first one of the first big Star Wars arcade games? Wasn't it really cool? I don't remember
You
exactly.
mean the
but
one
it-
in like 1980 with the trench run?
No,
There was the
not
French
that
one,
one.
too.
Well,
I know it's
the
Star Wars
first,
Trilogy?
like it was a Sega one in either the late '90s or early 2000s.
Star Wars
the
Trilogy.
Star Wars trilogy.
That must have been it.
Where
Yeah.
you had the
Yes.
joystick, which would function as either you're controlling the ship,
And there was a
or your
lightsaber battle.
Yes, and I may have forgotten, but wasn't it really cool?
It was fucking awesome.
was
Yes.
alright.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, that was one of those kind of like gimmicky arcade games. It's like
Absolutely.
back then it was 4 quarters, which was like insane. It's like
Yeah,
you
I
get
know.
to sit in like a whole
Yeah.
thing and play Star Wars. But the best Star Wars arcade game, Episode 1, Racer Baby, where you get on the thing and you actually control it
It's
like
a
this.
full-on
Pod
pod
So
racer.
cool. And
Now,
also
this
Episode
is
1
pod
Racer.
racing.
Yes, this is pod racing. I love it, man.
Have you seen those Star Wars pods that are like at movie theater arcades now?
Galaxy, whatever the hell. Kev, did you do that? Because I remember we went to
No,
play.
I don't think we ever did it. They have it at the Centuries 20, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Looks
neat. I
cool.
can just never get them to work. Like I can't. I guess nobody really. If you own a movie theater, you don't care if your arcade machines actually work,
Yeah.
as long as they're there.
Did anyone pick KOTOR as their favorite? Or?
I mean, KOTOR, I think, is maybe one of the best, one of
Yeah.
the 2 best. But TIE Fighter is always first
exactly.
to my heart.
Yeah.
And I think now that
Nobody
you said
loved
it,
that
Rogue
Bounty
Leader
Hunter game?
probably for me. But KOTOR was awesome except for the frame
What now?
rate and the
Bounty
buttons.
Hunter?
Well, Star Wars Bounty Hunter, yeah.
I really,
See,
really
Republic
enjoyed that game.
Commando is an underrated one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like there's
absolutely.
a lot of underrated ones in the like.
The, like
PS2
mid-aughts.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and,
Hunter's underrated.
What?
and
Bounty Hunter.
honestly, as much
The Django Fett game.
flack
Yeah.
as people like to give EA, I liked the campaign for Battlefront 2. Like it was, it,
was
was good.
fun.
It was all right. You know, it was good.
I like the first like
Did you give it
couple
a
of
chance?
hours.
I beat it.
You did. Okay.
Yeah, no.
fine.
What was the problem with it?
The
I had
Starfighter,
the
but
story mainly.
Oh, see, yeah, I mean, it's Star
I
Wars.
also
it had a
couldn't-
story.
I couldn't.
Sorry, I just don't take it that seriously. Like, I'm not
I
giving you
mean,
any shade.
you
I'm just like,
should. They should.
it's
They
not
did,
like it had
actually.
midichlorians in it.
I mean, it was the best part
Yeah.
of that
Wasn't that
entire
bad.
game.
Yeah.
The campaign.
Oh, and-
that and the Starfighter battles. Those were the best things since Rogue Leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good elements to the game. I don't want to take away from it.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, it surprised me that it was like just sort of solid. It was a predictable action adventure with the Star Wars wrapper on it, but the graphics and everything, it was good.
the graphics are amazing.
And the powers felt pretty good.
See, Nanobiologist, Lego Star Wars, the original game. I 100%ed that game.
Yeah.
It was
That's
real
a good
good.
call,
It
Lego
made me
Star
like
Wars.
the prequels.
Dude,
'Cause
video games
they
make
were
the
hilarious.
prequels tolerable.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I mean, just having them mime out everything from the prequels, amazing.
Based on Tim and Greg's impression of
Jedi Fallen Order.
Fallen Order,
Yeah.
I was.
She played
I
as
was
well?
Fallen
you
Order
did too.
is so good.
Yeah,
My God, I love it.
I was about to just say, I'm pretty sure that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Based
Oh,
on how everybody's talking about
that
it.
is going to be what
I really hope so.
Battlefront 2 campaign should have been.
Oh,
Yeah. For sure.
100%.
Even if the main character is a little bit of a dork.
You know, 3
Yeah.
years 3 years later. But
It's fun, though. I'm holding out hope that it's going to end up being great at the
The
end.
main characters are always dorks. It's the side characters. The secondary characters are always the most interesting.
Yeah, Luke is not a cool guy by
no,
any means.
he's a dork.
yeah. I brought up a theory though that maybe there's a twist about that main character. I know nothing about the game, but I
what's
was like,
your theory?
what if they?
It's
'cause
the
you were s-
pilot.
You were saying it was flat, but that he gets into like Kylo Ren territory, or who knows? Like
Oh, he turns
maybe-
to the dark side?
Who knows? Maybe he has like
Nah.
a conflict
Been
instead
there,
of just
done
being.
that.
They said that it's a light side story. Like there's no
So
no
he's just-
time turning to the dark side or whatever.
I like that.
He's
Give
like
us a
Nathan
good
Drakey.
light side story. It's all,
Yeah.
Everyone's always too conflicted. You know what I
That's
mean?
fair.
He knows
That's
what
a
he
good point.
wants.
It's a little
Yeah.
predictable, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more about just surviving rather than being conflicted about which side of the force you're on
Yeah.
because you're being hunted.
The reason I brought it up is because I was like, why is it such a predictable, like whitewashed character almost, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why? It would seem that they would have all sat down and be like, no, we don't want to do that.
They
But
gave a
did it.
reasoning for it at one point,
So I was like,
right?
why?
Like,
why would they do it?
They were like, oh god, I can't remember, but someone asked them like, hey, why is it just a normal like white Jedi guy?
Yeah.
And they're like, God, what was it? Do you remember, Kat? Their answer?
No idea.
It was something like, we didn't want to take a risk by making a woman character or something like that.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, well, I hope that wasn't their
I want to
answer.
look that up. I want to find that. Talk amongst
I feel like
yourselves.
that quote would, I mean, yeah, that would have made its rounds. But
I
Whatever
don't
the
care if
quote
it's a
was,
white
it did
dude.
make
He's just
the
kind of a
rounds.
dork.
yeah, it wasn't even just about being white, but like meaning we've had so many of that sort of. Meaning, in my mind's eye, if I could draw, and I was an artist, I would draw that character as like my guess. And you'd think they would just stay away from that, but
Of course, this came from Game Informer, so I probably should have remembered it better. But they said the reasoning is Rey was already a thing for Star Wars, so it made sense
Oh.
for us to just have a male protagonist.
gotcha. They didn't want to like stomp on that. I mean,
Rey was already a thing, but Anakin wasn't, and Obi-Wan wasn't.
I'm not
and
sure that
Luke
makes sense
wasn't.
though, because then for all Star Wars games for the last 2 decades, they
Yeah.
would have had to avoid male white characters. I mean,
See,
is that
I want to work on one of these games because then I have ultimate power. Because then I can bring anything I want back into the canon. So I am just gonna look at the expanded universe and just go, bring me the wildest stuff, like right here.
just tape it back?
Give me the
together?
dark saber. Yep, bring
The
it all
design
back
doc
in.
just starts with "Where's Watto?"
Where's Watto? We need to know. I was told that Watto is dead in canon now.
What?
Is he?
Someone brought that up. I think it was
Is he
Kevin.
frozen in carbonite like
And
Jar
I
Jar?
want to know. I want to know how it happened.
Someone in chat was saying when we were talking about it that he had been killed by Darth Vader, but I'll look into it.
But it turned out he was a Jedi.
He
and
was
then
killed
floats
by
over,
Vader.
he's like,
Hold on, no.
And he's just like,
But Vader won't go to Tatooine.
Yeah, one, he hates sand. Two, I don't like the
that
idea of
true?
like Star Wars being about like
Is
five
that
people.
true?
that Vader hates sand.
No,
Yes,
that he
Fran?
won't go to Tatooine.
Why am I
That's
supposed to know
why
this?
in the original A
Star
New-
Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, when there's an entire like 10-minute scene based on how much he hates sand.
I honestly, that definitely was not the most memorable.
Oh,
The reason-
Isn't that the one
unfortunately,
where they're
it was.
rolling around in the hay, like
Yeah,
And
in
in
love?
the
and-
following scene,
See, I think after that it was all like, what just
it's
happened?
him- he's like, I just hate sand.
Sid Kebabs is
It's so
saying that
coarse,
the
it
dark
gets
saber
everywhere.
is canon. I'm referring to the super weapon from the novels, unless it is
you're
the
a
one
Star
that's
Wars
built by the
expert.
Hutts. Not talking about the lightsaber or whatever. That's also a dark
So
saber.
on Wikipedia it says in the non-canonical Star Wars comic book Visionaries, Watto is shown to be killed by Darth Maul. So that may be what people are thinking, and they totally screwed
Oh,
it up.
Maul kills him. The other one.
Oh,
The other one, great. Ignacio Rojas actually brings up a very important point. Watto's a horse now. We all know that. That's canon. That is true.
What?
For any,
I'm sure
Here's
that was
the- here's
also
the
a
thing.
big scene in
So,
episode 2 that
I'm
I
gonna
missed.
I'm gonna drop some knowledge on you, Fran.
You already
this
did.
Is something you might
More
not
than I
know.
can handle, clearly.
All right. You know how Greg's Watto impression?
No, I
Do you-
don't.
What?
No.
Really?
I missed that episode as well.
Content, dude. He
I mean,
does
it's
it all
just
the time.
it's
Well,
kind of just been an ongoing thing.
You
forever.
produce most of it, right, Kevin?
I direct most of it.
Yeah, I see.
Anyway, Greg does this thing where he goes, Annie, oh,
Yeah.
used to be a small boy, oh, and like
I haven't
Greg,
heard it.
Greg goes fucking crazy with it. It all, and he's been doing this for years now. It's never been good, but it all stems from back at IGN. We did an unboxing. It was me and him. We did an unboxing of Lego used to just send us a bunch of Legos.
Oh, yeah.
and so we'd unbox it, show it off, whatever. And they sent this set that had, it was a giant like. What are the things they added to the CG? The dewbacks. So they added the CG
Yes.
on Tatooine. You know what I'm
What
talking
are
about?
these
Yeah,
things?
Just like big ass like freaking hippo looking.
I was
thing,
gonna
right?
say hippos. Okay.
Whatever.
It
That
was
type
what
of
I-
thing.
For once, that was what I thought.
And
from
Greg
Star
was
Wars.
just playing with these damn toys, and he's just like,
And he's-
oh, Tim, I'm Watto. Oh, I like do this whole thing. I'm like, that's not Watto. What do you do? He's like, they turned me into a horse. Oh. And like he went on and he did the Greg Miller wheeze laugh where like
where
he
he can't stop himself.
I'm like, I don't know what you're laughing at, but like he
He's
just went off
laughing
and
at
off.
himself.
And it was a piece of content that never made it live. Like it was edited and it never went live on IGN. Yet Greg referenced it for years in so many pieces of content across Kind of Funny, and like we would constantly like talk about it.
I feel like I've heard it now.
But no one has seen this fucking video.
Dude.
We have it somewhere.
Oh, the
I
actual
built the
original
Legos.
unboxing.
But yeah, the unboxing's not up.
Oh, it never went.
It never went up.
Why?
No, so no, I don't
Did
know.
I see a screener of it? or something?
Probably. I don't know.
Like, all right,
Oh my
guys,
god!
let's do a
Fran,
serious
do
one.
you remember that? You kept giving me shit about how I was building the Legos.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Do you not remember this?
No.
I was like, so they needed the transition. They would open everything up, right?
Yeah.
And then they would be like, all right, well, like, let's look at it after it's built. And then
Right.
they would cut to it. And so, like, they would leave it with me overnight, and I would do it. And you kept walking over, giving me shit for not pre-separating my pieces. And I was like, Fran, searching for the piece is one of my favorite things.
This does sound very familiar to me now.
Anyway,
Yeah.
my favorite thing about this is there are people like Ignacio that are aware that Watto is a horse from
I
this
get it
video
now.
that they've never seen.
But you have it somewhere, you think? Like,
I'm sure I do. I have
just
anything
like on an old
from IGN.
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All my stuff is gone. I don't know
we'll
where it's
see.
at.
Oh, Star Wars. There's nothing quite like Star Wars, you know?
No.
It's magical.
That's why everybody still loves it after 30 years.
Yeah. What'd the trailer do for you?
I haven't watched it because I'm trying to
spoilers.
stay away from.
Fresh.
I just want to. I'm sure that I'm going to see the trailer at some point because I will go to a movie and it will play and I'll go, okay.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I like to kind of go in not really knowing what to expect.
yeah.
So
I
I
really
mean,
respect
I got
that.
tickets already. I don't need to see another trailer.
If you do that, if you somehow manage to watch the movie without seeing this trailer, I highly advise, after seeing the movie, go back and watch this trailer. Because it's just such a beautifully made trailer to just make you fucking celebrate Star Wars. That I feel like that will still be true after the movie's release.
I like that everybody's talking about it like it's the end of Star Wars.
I know.
That's exactly what they
Well, because
nailed.
they're trying.
Yeah.
to
That's their
say
marketing.
I mean, it's the end
Yeah.
of this
It's
particular
the
saga.
end of this saga. Exactly.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, I really like Star Wars, but what you're sharing with me right now, this is how I was with Lord of the Rings. I was like, I don't want to see it. I'd be plugging my ears in the theater because like Two Towers trailers up, and people are like, "What is your problem?" And like, I just want to go in fresh. I already know I want to see it. But with Star Wars, I've come.
There's not
to
a book it's based on.
Well, no, I've just become like a little more open to like, I'll watch the trailer, right? But what I can say is this one, and meaning they kind of roll off my skin. I'm like, that was a cool trailer. But this one totally got me of like the 30 some years it's been around. I really felt like I was like, oh man, like this is my life. It's coming to an end. Not my life, but the story. It's over. But it really
I'm dying
felt,
after this.
No, but it really nails
well,
that.
there's nothing more to live for. Star Wars is over.
I mean, maybe you might have just. I'm like,
Fran
this-
shot first.
What's coming next? Because now that this is gone,
Now
we'll see.
what?
We'll see. We'll see.
You know
All
what?
right.
The answer to that probably is more Star Wars eventually.
Well, we know that, but I
Sooner
mean,
than later.
what will that be?
What's
you
going to
know?
happen with
Might as well
Boba
put-
Fett?
might as
Find
well
out on
put-
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Put Thorn in at this
Obi-Wan,
point.
dude. Let's go. All right, Kev, you ready?
Born ready, bruh.
All right. So, Fran, just so you're aware of this, I'm going to toss
Oh, yeah.
to a couple things because we pre-recorded that Outer Worlds bit last week.
Yep.
So
We're gonna toss.
we're going to do that in the beginning and then
Okay.
toss. And then, have you been playing at all?
No, I didn't
Okay,
have
cool.
code and didn't have.
You
time.
have, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Should
And
have hit up
all the panels
PR
are
team.
falling off again.
It's getting hot. Are they
Oh,
going to come
shit.
down, Kevin?
Yeah. I
Whoa,
mean,
I've
if
never
they
seen
do,
this.
yeah, that happened
So-
last week too.
God.
It's so hot in the studio. The panels are coming down.
Devastating.
Take a shot for Nick.
Do you want to explain it to the kids?
What?
Do you want to explain what we're doing to the kids so they don't?
I think I already have a couple times, but
I think you've explained it off air.
whatever. Greg recorded an. I'm going to explain it in the. Well, no, I guess I'm not. Greg recorded an Outer Worlds preview last week that's under embargo. We're going to play that, but you live people aren't going to see it. We're going to cut to his, so we're actually getting live impressions of it. And then the whole video, you can go back and watch Greg's impressions.
Yeah, and the
Well,
embargo's
we
done
will
now, though,
upload it
right?
to
It's
Yes.
just that,
YouTube.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was under embargo at the time.
Is that cool?
Yeah, that's great.
Great.
I just wanted to give them a heads
Good
up.
call. All right. Ready?
Yep.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 244 of the Kind of Funny Games cast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by Fran Mirabella, the third.
I'm not used to the flow
Yeah,
today.
I'm
because we got
usually
new
the
guests
coolest dude
on.
in video games. Greg Miller. He'll be
Hello.
making
I
an
know,
appearance.
That was it.
Greg Miller.
I was waiting for the coolest
In
dude
this
in video
episode.
games, Fran Mirabella. I thought I got to fill in for him today.
No.
Nah, not at
No,
all.
you got the best hair in the business.
That was the saddest. Like, no,
Yeah,
you're
no,
not.
no.
No.
Obviously not.
But you did learn a lot about Watto and
Yes,
his history
in the
in
pre-show.
the pre-show that you can get patreon.com.
I had no idea it was a dewback. Wow.
He turns into a horse. It's
a
crazy,
horse.
man.
That's the
Sorry,
one.
spoilers.
Wanopedia.
Spoilers for Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. There, but yeah, Fran, FM3 himself. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be back and with a new guest on the show as well.
Yes, yes.
You know.
Jumping ahead there, Kat Bailey, editor-in-chief of US Gamer. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm really busy playing all of the video games because it's time. The release schedule, it's happening.
Oh, it's fall.
It's
fall.
a holiday.
They're either being played right now or being delayed. It's one of the two options.
I've
There's
seen Mike-
no in betweens.
A lot
Too
of stuff
soon,
getting
Tim.
delayed right now. Yeah.
I've seen Mike Williams, the reviews editor at US Gamer, have like a slow breakdown on Twitter over the last 2 weeks over just it being review season.
No, it's totally true. But I got the hardest one of all to review because I'm reviewing Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Death Stranding, ladies and gentlemen. I can say right now that all four of us at this table are playing this game. Andy's
About all
also
we can
playing this game. Greg Miller's playing this game.
Yeah.
And we will be, Kevin's playing as well. And we will be doing our review next week on the Games Cast. We're going to do that actually a little bit differently because of where the embargo falls. It is midnight on Friday. So Games Cast will be up for everybody, patrons and non-patrons, on midnight Friday review. It'll be up there. Of course, patrons get it ad-free. But there will not be a live recording of the Gamescast next week because it is going to be pretty much entirely Death Stranding. But if you have questions, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, get them in. We'll answer those. And then, yeah, the former informer himself, Imran Khan. How you doing?
It's incredibly hot today.
It's incredibly
Holy
hot.
shit.
Why is it so hot?
I don't like it.
It's October.
Oh,
I
Man.
actually love this weather. I just don't like when it's
me too.
inside because we have no air conditioning in San Francisco.
Also that. We
You
don't
always-
understand air conditioning
Yeah,
here.
you always have to preface that because like all the people in the Midwest or like much hotter places. Oh, sorry for you. And you're like, no, we
Yeah.
don't get to go into air conditioning here. Nobody has it.
Yeah,
I
like-
just want to go to a Safeway and just lay somewhere. You know
People
what I
do
mean?
stuff like this. They're like, I want to go grocery shopping. It's so hot.
No, yeah, like when I lived in Georgia, that was.
Wall.
When I lived in Georgia, that was kind of what you did when it was too hot. Is you
That's
go to
it.
Walmart because those opening areas between like the front door and like the store
Oh,
doors,
the big
where they're like
fans.
super vented. Yeah,
Costco has that too. Just
Yeah.
a big fan up front.
those are
Anyway,
super nice.
It's great, man.
It's hot.
You gotta love video games, right?
If you're watching the
They're
show,
hot. Yeah.
you could see there's panels falling off the walls in the
Literally,
studio.
the studio
So this
is
is why you
falling
watch.
apart before your very eyes. So shout out to Patreon producers Zach Parsley and James Hastings for supporting us financially because we're probably going to need some more money soon to help fix
put
all
these
of this. Or
panels
get
back
some
on the
AC.
wall.
I'm not
Thank
really
you, guys.
sure. Patreon supporters at the silver membership or above get to watch the show live as we record it. You can get the show 3 days early and get the full exclusive pre and post shows. It's fun for everybody. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can get the show later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or roosterteeth.com or on your favorite podcast service. Just search for Kind of Funny Games Cast. And you can hear our impressions of video games each and every week. Let's see. We got sponsorships today, Felix Gray and Upstart, but we will talk about that later. We are now doing You're Wrong in Kind of Funny Games Cast, so you can go to kindoffunny.com/gamescast. You're Wrong to let us know what we get wrong in an episode, and at the beginning of every next episode, we'll address it. We got nothing wrong last week.
Woo!
How
Nothing.
crazy
No
is that?
corrections.
How crazy is that? So
It is crazy.
You guys, the challenge is out there. If we fuck something up this week, kindoffunny.com/gamescast.
I will.
You're wrong. Now, here's the thing. Greg Miller, Imran, and Fran Mirabella last week recorded a mini preview of Greg's impressions of The Outer Worlds. The embargo wasn't up. It was a whole thing. Now we can talk about whatever we want. So we're going to play that right now. Now, Imran, we're going to talk about what you think about The Outer Worlds.
By the way,
How many times is that going to happen
Everybody's
this year?
doing it this year.
Yeah.
My God.
and Greg, by the way, was now that reviews are out. It's really interesting having come off last week. He was the only person I heard from. Imram only at the time had played 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
And his impression was sort of like, it's okay. Like I have a lot of issues. And then all these reviews come out and it's like, man, I'm digging this. So I'm very curious to hear.
I'm pretty shocked about this too because when we were at the Star Wars event for Jedi Fallen Order, Kat was there too. There was a lot of people we were talking to that seemed to be more on Greg's side than when we're seeing all these reviews come out. And of course, everyone has different tastes and are kind of going
Yeah.
into things differently. But I was pretty shocked by the reviews being as high
I
as
guess
they are.
people had certain expectations that I think were maybe a little unfair to it because when it got announced, everybody immediately said Fallout New Vegas. It's being made by the original Fallout people. It's totally going to be like Fallout New Vegas, right? We're getting the open world Bethesda RPG that we've always wanted from the people who made the original Fallout. This is going to be great. And even now, I'm still seeing a lot of comparisons to Fallout New Vegas. It's not entirely fair to this game
Yeah.
because it's a much smaller scale, much smaller team, much smaller budget. It's built around really highly focused, well-written, well-designed quests. It's built around just different aspects. Like it's not a full out open world sandbox, as it were. It has much more discrete areas. I think Vampire the Masquerade or even KOTOR is a better comparison point for the Outer Worlds. So people are going to go in expecting Fallout 3, and they're going to come out going, "Well, that wasn't Fallout 3."
Yeah. Which is, it's not entirely unfair to like have that criticism for the game. That I do think it like that is actually one of Greg's problems is that he mentioned he's underwhelmed. It didn't do anything really different from Fallout New Vegas and did it in a smaller scale. But at the end of the day, I feel like it focused much more on character writing. Because last time we talked about it in the video before, I was 4 or 5 hours in. Now I have finished the game, and I think for me it was about a 10, 15, 20 hour thing. But other people have said 30 to 40 hours for them, so I guess I didn't do a whole lot of side
Yeah,
stuff.
Greg said like 20, I remember, right?
Yeah.
It's quite short, like 25
He
hours.
booked it.
Yeah.
Like it also depends on your build too. I talked my way out of a lot of quests. People were asking me to do things. I'd be like, "Hey, my persuade is high enough that I don't really. Can you just give me the thing I need?" And I'm like, "All right, fine."
Did you have just shot them too?
Dialogue
I
is
could've shot
really
them,
strong
yeah.
in this one.
Yeah.
But there are
Di-
choices to make.
There are definitely choices to make, and there are moral choices, there are economic choices, there are per character choices, there are choices for your party. So if I'm carrying around 2 people, they are fantastic in battle, but they don't get along in the same way, I shouldn't have that party composition. Because if I make one choice that will piss one of them off no matter what I do, then I should have two people that agree versus two people who are going to disagree all the time.
Yeah.
Because especially, they don't necessarily react well in battle if they're not happy with me. Which is, I'm not sure if it's a actual
I like those
statistic
party
thing.
dynamics. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And I think Dragon Age Inquisition tried to do a very similar thing of people are going to disagree with you over time, but I feel like this game pulls it off a
But
lot
it was
better.
in DAI, it's much lighter, as
Yeah.
it were. Like, people will sometimes go, oh, I disagree with that. But beyond that, like, you don't feel a ton of repercussions. I
Yeah,
don't think so.
I had a character that I talked my way out of a quest, and I was like, oh, they immediately came to me after that conversation and said, hey, I think we should have helped anyway. We shouldn't have just tried to get the thing and leave. And my thing was like, okay. And then I immediately changed them out for someone else. Because I don't need that shit.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
No.
Wow, really? See, I want
I
all
like
of my
you.
companions to like me.
But I'm not gonna. If I'm gonna talk my way out of quests. I don't need somebody who disagrees with the idea of talking out of quests.
Okay.
You're not. You're coming with a charming person. Like, my build is charming, persuasive. If they're
You're shady, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, I'm not a fighter in that game. Like, to the point where I made a build that made it so enemies get intimidated by my existence. So if I come up to them, they start cowering, and then I beat them up while they're cowering.
So did you do that for that feeling of power, or did you do it because you don't like the battle mechanics?
That, mostly.
The
Is
latter.
that the battle mechanics don't control well.
Interesting.
You don't think so?
No.
I think it's fine.
They are fine. I think, what did I play? I played Doom 2016 right before this.
Okay.
Yeah, so
See,
that-
if you're comparing it to a pure
polished-
shooter,
I'm not-
that's one of the best.
I'm not
like-
intentionally comparing it, but like when I was playing it, I was like, oh god, this feels so slow.
How
Okay.
much shooting is there
Depends
if
on
you
how much you
play
play.
it, call it, play it in...
If you
so
play it
you've
as a
avoided-
warrior, yeah.
You could go and kill everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the big points of this game, and that kind of separates it from maybe the Bethesda games and makes it like the Fallout New Vegas, is that theoretically you can just kill everybody you meet.
Yeah.
And you can still finish the game. It's going to be a much shorter game. You're
Yeah.
not going to get nearly as many quests, but you can do that. Which
You
is
could wipe out
cool.
an entire town, and like
Yeah.
you'll lose what do you call it, alliances with the corporations, but for the most, like, you'd still get everything you need from it.
But like as an example, opening 40 minutes, right? Like I'm sure there's a opening cutscene, some talk, some tutorial. How soon do you get to shooting, and then how much of that is there in that
it's like
40
right away.
minutes?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like
really?
10
Yeah.
minutes, if
Oh.
not.
And
under
it's
that.
first-person shooting,
Yeah.
controls, all.
Yeah, so I played the preview demo at an event, and the opening scene has you on a planet, and there are hostile aliens that you're fighting just immediately.
That-
Yeah, the studio's falling apart. Don't worry, as long as it doesn't, nothing will fall on our head. Right? Nah.
God damn it.
Hey, seriously, it's like, don't worry about it. It's
Thanks, Fran. I'm not worried about it
Imran.
anymore.
Can you persuade that to go back into its position?
Not even I could persuade that. No.
So, I mean, the reason I ask is because, I mean, I do think it is part expectation, but it is a valid concern. Whether you had, whether you're playing Borderlands or Doom or not, I mean, it is first-person shooting battle until you upgrade to the point you can do slow down time.
you can do that from
make
day
it
one
easier?
or from
Oh, you
minute
can do
one.
that from-
Yeah.
So you can
just how
play-
long you can do it takes like different.
It's
skill
about what the
trees.
game is geared toward, though. This game is explicitly geared toward having good writing, good quest design, good companion interactions. And if the shooting is passable in that context and not actively detracting from it, I don't see, I'm just not going to comment on it that much.
Yeah.
Imran, do you feel like, so if you didn't like how the gunplay felt and all that, do you feel that making your builds the way that you wanted to play the way that you are they giving you those options readily enough that
Yeah.
that you feel like you're playing it a way that was designed?
Yeah, there's the area Kat was talking about as the first beginning area. You are told to go meet the ship at a certain place, and between you there's marauders, which some of them you have to fight. But eventually you find a bigger group of them, and you find two people who are they're traffic cops for that planet. So you find them and you say, well, I need to get on that ship, and I had the option to persuade them to, can you guys take out those marauders for me? And since I had that persuasion point, they did that. When I first played that game at Judges Week, I didn't realize they were good guys. I thought they were enemies, so I killed them first and then killed the marauders myself.
Damn.
But in that case, you can just wipe everybody out. Since they killed the marauders, I got on the ship. I talked to the AI, and I convinced the AI that it should help me. And I walked back out the ship, and the traffic cops were like, "Well, we can't just let you take the ship, and we have to write you a ticket." And one of the options, that is okay, we'll kill her. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Or the other one is persuade. So it's like, hey, I saved one of your guys earlier. Can you just let this go?
Be cool, bro.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, fine. So I didn't have to lift a finger basically this entire time. I
love this. You're just the kingpin out there.
I talked my way out of everything, so I didn't have to worry about anybody, causing trouble. You do have to fight. Like, there's no way to necessarily get around it always, but whether you kill or you can stealth. You can stealth too. So you definitely don't have to do all that stuff. You could pickpocket and all that. That's a little hard, and because of the way saving and reloading in this game works, because when you reload for a long time. Like, there was one point where I got myself into a bit of a sticky wicket and got myself killed. And it
I knew Kevin was
Righto.
gonna say something about
it loaded me back into town, but the door outside of town, so it was a 15, 20-second load into town, then hit the door, another 15, 20-second load back out of town. Then I had to walk back into there. And because I was just rushing past everything, there was a point where the texture streaming wasn't fast enough. So it was another, 5-second buffer time while I was running away, or running through. I should say, one, I got this code for Private Division, so they sent me a preview code. Two, they sent me a PS4 code. So, which is, I'm gonna guess, the worst version of the game.
Really?
It is, so I have a PS4 Pro. They made a big thing last week about initially the PS4 Pro doesn't support 4K. It supports 4K resolution, but not 4K textures.
Yeah.
Xbox,
2K, I
yeah.
believe. Up-resed.
Right, it's
Okay, the
1440p.
version we reviewed was on the PC.
Yeah, PC and Xbox One X are supposed to be the best versions.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I assume Microsoft tossed some money. It's like, hey, can you just make our version
Plus,
better?
they got the Epic Game Store money too, because it was an exclusive
Right.
there.
I don't know about that. I mean, that's different side, but porting from PC to Xbox is going to naturally be better with DirectX and all that stuff.
Yeah, but
so-
also with the Game Pass integration stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, but
And the
you're-
Xbox One X is just more powerful than
Yeah,
the
but
PS4
I mean,
Pro.
you're suggesting they're holding. Wait, if I heard
I'm not
you
saying
right,
they're
that
ho- I'm not saying
held
they're holding back on
textures because of
No.
money.
I'm saying
No,
they were
it's just
given
they
more money to do
optimized.
a thing.
No,
don't
I
know.
think they were just able to optimize better for the PC.
Smaller team, like you
Yeah.
said. I mean, we don't know is the answer, but just to.
I mean, if I were Microsoft and this game were reviewing well, I'd be like, make sure you do everything you can to make sure so people know this is a big Xbox title. Personally, were I Microsoft.
Oh, let's remember they probably look very similar on regular Xbox.
I don't really
One
think
and-
I don't associate
think
it
it's
with
a
any
cons-
console. Honestly,
It's
it's a multi-platform game.
Matt
but I feel
Booty's
like
already
they
out there
want
saying
to.
he thinks Outer Worlds
Bam.
is an Xbox game, and a theoretical Outer Worlds 2 might be an Xbox exclusive.
I mean, yeah, because it's
Well, it would have to be at
Obsidian.
this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he
And
believes
PC.
Outer Worlds is an Xbox game, and considering I guess he's head of software there,
Interesting. I think of it as a Nintendo Switch game because it's coming out.
that
then.
is true.
Yeah.
I really wonder how that version's gonna.
Oh,
'Cause,
I
like-
don't think it's going to be good at all.
Yeah.
Though they outsourced it,
Technically,
so
yeah.
I guess we'll see. I hope they gave it to a good porting house.
I mean, it's not a very technically demanding game, but it kind of feels like it's held together by bubblegum and tape.
Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't matter how quote unquote technically demanding it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's probably, I would assume it's PC engine of, I don't know, what
It's
is it
Unreal.
Unreal?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just getting that on Switch architecture we've seen overall just does not.
Sometimes it works out. Like Dragon Ball Fighter Z was pretty good. It was like half the frame rate, but still otherwise identical.
Yeah.
But like other times, it just doesn't work out. Like Bloodstained.
I don't think it's Panic Button or any of the others who are like really well recognized. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
I imagine Panic Button is working on Doom at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wait, so did I get the impression right? So you're like, take it or leave it, kind of like how Greg was about the
Right.
game.
I didn't disagree with anything Greg said. I was just more positive than him about it.
Yeah, you were a little more optimistic about just a game about, I guess, making choice and how that can be fun.
Right.
Where he was like, I don't know, I didn't feel driven to go forward.
I think a lot of it's going to depend on how much the story hits you and the way it hits you.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I'm a flaming liberal at this point. That's not a shock to anyone. So, like, a big story about how corporations are fucking up society is an appealing story to me.
intrigues you.
Yeah, it's a more anti-capitalist story. Like, one of the first the towns you go to, the first guy you meet there is like, hey, I have a quest for you. It's like, okay, this sounds pretty cool. He's a grave digger, and corporations require you to rent out your grave site. Or, like, before you, like, as you're living, you pay
You
monthly
rent it out until you die.
until you die. And at that point, a family member has to keep paying for you. It's like,
that's great.
can you go collect this stuff for me? And it's just like, honestly, very ghoulish quest of, hey, the corporation demands you pay up. And they're like, God damn it, I don't have the money and I'm going to die soon. I need to do something.
Did you persuade him?
You could just like intimidate people to just, I'm not going to do any quests for you. Just give me the damn money.
Corporations make you pay for your death until you die, but if you run out of money,
Yeah.
you're screwed.
Or like there's a
Whatever
guy,
that means.
there's a guy I patched up and like, hey, I have some med kits and you're shot. Can I help you out? He's like, no, because I get a pay cut if somebody else who's not in my insurance plan patches me up. I was like, this isn't a joke. This is actually real life. That,
Taken straight out of the U.S. healthcare system.
yeah.
Damn.
So like that kind of stuff is appealing to me. I could see how that doesn't always hit. Won't hit for everybody.
God.
Another
Holy
panel
shit.
fell off the wall. That's 2. Let's keep count. 2 off the wall.
Is this a
So-
heat thing or is that
There's
like?
gonna be one more left. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
heat
we're ready.
thing.
Yeah.
This
So
what-
started last week, and I have double-sided tape now, like really good one that I'm gonna replace it with. But we were able to just kind of place it all back in place last week, and I was like, it'll hold.
You have
It's October.
It's all coming
not
back
gonna-
to
there's not
haunt
gonna be
ya.
heat waves.
to just in time for Halloween. So what I was gonna say though, Kat, you seem to like it a lot
Oh.
more. Like, is this your type of game?
Maybe I'm up on it. So I host a podcast about RPGs. So I'm always going to be kind of behind role playing. It's made by 2 legends in Leonard Boyarsky and Tim Kaine, and also a really capable team from Obsidian. And so I kind of want to support it anyway because I think we need more of these RPGs, especially from people who are kind of legends in their own right. Like I said, they created the original Fallout.
Yep.
I mean, that's a big freaking deal. They made Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, one of the greatest RPGs actually ever. And so there's a big part of me that just wants to support a game like this. Now, our review over at US Gamer, I didn't do the review. That was our reviews editor, Mike Williams. He gave it a 4 out of 5. And honestly, we are between 3.5 and 4
Still a great
because it's honestly hurt a little bit by the budget and the scope that they actually had to do it. But by and large, I think that if you are looking for a very smart, interesting, different RPG that is a little bit, maybe a little smarter than your average Bethesda RPG, this is the one.
It's fun. I'm really relieved to hear you say that because,
Yeah.
I was just bouncing off Greg last week, and I think I had said something like that, or maybe it was on Games Daily with Imran of the, what do we do in this situation where we have a more, I said niche, and what I meant by that is like this polish, their pedigree of what they bring, and there's not a lot of that out there. It's not done right that often. That's what I meant by that. And so to hear you kind of say that it is in that vein and like, should we support it? Because what if we don't see this again? What if Microsoft gets cold feet now and says, we don't want our work?
Microsoft's going to want to support it.
No, they will,
yeah.
but like I think you're right. Is that we do sometimes need to make that choice where it's $60, and this has been
Yeah,
another
which is an
Or-
odd pricing, I think, for that game.
It's not.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Game Pass.
It is the best
Or,
argument for Game
it's-
Pass.
It's
out
$10,
And
or
that's the
$1
argument I
trial
have
fee,
towards
maybe.
the Microsoft thing, where I'm like, they're going to treat this like one of their games, and like it's
Premier
a
Game
Microsoft
Pass
game
thing.
because
And
it's a premier Game Pass title.
And it's benefited so much from Fallout 76. Like, Fallout 76 had the whole kerfuffle this week
This
with the
week?
subscription.
Why would they do that this week?
And Outer Worlds is just like, yes, thank you. Because immediately everybody starts going, well, if you want a real Fallout game, just go over to the Outer Worlds, which it's more original Fallout than Fallout New Vegas, but
Yeah.
yay.
Like, do you know how many millions of dollars it would have cost to get this level of marketing for?
Yeah.
We don't want this subscription service, so you should play this awesome indie but polished. You know?
Yeah.
And they got it for free from their biggest competitor.
Well, it just goes to show the depth of feeling against Bethesda right now, because people, like, okay, so I like Fallout 4 a lot better than most, but ultimately people were pretty out on Fallout 4, and Fallout 76 they were really out on, and so they're just like, Bethesda, your games are so buggy.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have so many
we're tired of
issues.
this.
I mean,
You feel
if we got Fallout 5 last year instead of 76, I wonder if this game would still have the same level of... Like, it honestly depends on the quality of Fallout 5. If it kept going that same direction of Fallout
Yeah.
4, of, like, not really being old Fallout still, then maybe people would be less into this, or more into this, rather. But I kind of wonder, like, by the fact that Bethesda fucked up so hard over the last 365 days.
More than that, I mean, honestly, with Fallout 4, like, that game sold gangbusters. I think the only game that got more attention on our site than Fallout 4 was probably Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
And still, like, ultimately, people were so mad about the way they handled the DLC and the store and the microtransactions, and it was really buggy and all
There was a
this
point
stuff.
where, like,
It was
Fallout...
a simpler time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
It
Fallout,
was a
like 'cause
simpler
Fallout
time.
4, I remember there were a lot of those issues and like people talking about it, but it didn't feel nearly as bad as like this age we're in now of Anthem and Fallout 76
Yeah.
being like some of the worst
Yeah.
gaming
Yeah.
issues.
I mean,
of all
Fallout
time.
4 was maybe a disappointing game for some, like me included, but it wasn't clownable. Fallout 76 was definitely clownable.
Very clownable.
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah, because my vibe was always that Fallout 4 was just 3 again, and that's what people didn't like. But it's not that anybody hated it. It's like whereas
It
Fallout
was just a little
76
blasé is the main thing.
You gotta remember the. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, and janky.
Oh yeah, that goes. Unfortunately, that was what you're getting. I feel like every Bethesda release period seems to be janky.
That's the nice
especially
thing about the
Fallout.
Outer Worlds is that it's relatively bug-free, unless you've run into some heck of
Greg
bugs.
mentioned
I've not
some-
seen some bad bugs. I've seen some real jank, though.
Okay.
And, like, UI problems and stuff like that. I've seen, like, bodies being dragged in really strange ways. It's old Fallout in that respect as well.
Yeah. But I was gonna say you got to remember Fallout 76 is different in the sense of it being online.
Oh, yeah.
Persistent. It's very different, and
But it looks so outdated in so
Yeah,
many
it sure
ways. Like
does.
from a graphic standpoint, and the actual combat is real bad. The fact that they build a Fallout game around combat is flat out insane to me because the combat in Fallout is bad. It's always
Yeah.
been bad.
for what it's worth, I'm glad that they attempted it. And I hope they stay behind it because I love the concept of living in a post-apocalyptic, persistent world with like a changing online service. It's such a cool concept.
I thought you were going to say, like, end that at just post-apocalyptic world. Like, you had the secret dream of living in a post-apocalyptic
me?
world. Like,
Right.
yeah, Mad Max Fran is going to...
Actually, I kind of that would be pretty.
Frenetic Fran.
It's
But
not
anyway,
a repair product in the future.
I like that they're going down that road. So in other words, with Outer Worlds, you guys almost. I normally say it right. You get in
Good
my
job.
head. With Outer Worlds, I feel like that's on a really good path to actually continue to stay in this. This again, niche may not be the right word. This path of they do things a little more narrow, but well.
It feels like a
And-
proof of concept, honestly. Like I feel like this is almost a pitch to Microsoft to just like, all right,
Let's go.
we can do a sequel now. Let's go all out.
Yeah.
Let's go crazy here.
Yeah,
All
and hopefully
out.
that's it. But
like
then
Fallout.
Fallout 76
Without the
can stay
fails.
on its online persistent world path. We could be years out from whatever Fallout 77.
I mean, BGS has 2 more games before they can get to a new
Starfield.
Fallout. Yeah.
Yeah, and then whatever Starfield is, and then maybe we
It's
get
like
a Fallout
3
5
years
as
out
well.
or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Next gen is probably what that is.
Yeah,
So,
for
Fran,
sure.
hearing all this from everybody, where do you stand out of Worlds? Fuck. Do you think you're gonna?
We all need to get like zapped when
Yeah.
we get it wrong, so we
Yeah.
just we're afraid to say it until we.
I'm
think
looking
about
forward to the year wrong next week, just saying Outer Worlds, Outer Worlds.
Yes. But do you think you're gonna pop into this?
I don't have the time. I will say that as we established on the pre-show, story like I do love good cinematic stories and all that. Like I love cinema and movies, but like I don't know when it comes to getting into games like this and the choices, making it like I'm always a gameplay person first is what I'm getting at, and so I think like I would enjoy it. I think I'd have some of these problems with the jankiness, like you said, but I just don't have time to play it right now. But I feel like I got from everybody, it feels like a 7.5 that if you're into that type of thing. You should 7.5 out of 10. You should check it out.
Game, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the vibe I'm getting. Some people really love it, right? And so it over-indexes like all these people that I think are into the world giving it 9s, and I'm like, I totally understand that. I don't
yeah.
think
Just
I'd be on
crave it,
that
yeah.
end of the spectrum. is
I'd
what
probably
I'm
give it like an 8 personally, but if like you're really into New Vegas, then you could give this a 9.5. I see those reviews as totally legitimate.
So it seems less of a concern though than when I first heard about it from Greg, I guess is the point. And even
Yeah.
maybe what you heard at, the preview event from a lot of folks. Like it seemed a little more concerning based on what I first heard. Now the reviews are out and hearing from you. I'm like, honestly, if you're in this type of genre, fans of the genre, you might like it a lot. So
Yeah.
I think it's probably going to be the second best RPG to come out this year after Disco Elysium.
I've heard good things about Disco Elysium, but I've not like,
It's in the running to be our game of the year now.
really.
Yeah, like Mike and Katie really love that game to the point where I'm just kind of side-eyeing it, going, I really want to play this, but I got to play Death Stranding, but I really
Yes.
want to play this.
I'm also in that same position.
Yeah,
I
poor
wanna-
us, right?
Kat, I want to hear about Shenmue 3.
Oh my god.
yeah.
So Imran, you've been playing through Shenmue to prepare for 3?
No, I've been playing Shenmue 2 just because like I want to stream the game. And I've never
Okay.
seen it before.
Okay.
But like I figure Shenmue 3 is coming out, so I'm like, why don't I get? Because I assume by the time Shenmue 3 comes out, 2 will just be straight up spoiled for me anyway.
Uh-huh.
Turns out there's not that much to spoil in Shenmue 2, but I'm interested in seeing how
Not being
Shenmue
spoiled on a 20-year game.
Right.
If I've made it this long, then like why not?
Good
just go
job,
and do-
you.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
watch a recap on YouTube. You know it's out there.
I have to know firsthand.
it's like Shenmue story.
I
in
have
2
that
minutes.
sickness.
So, Kat, what's your history with Shenmue?
I don't
And-
have history with Shenmue.
Okay, so you're just jumping into 3?
Sure am.
Wow,
really?
how's that going?
Oh, okay. So last week there was this preview event. So I drove all the way up to Larkspur, which is in
Yeah.
the North Bay. It's like Marin. And I was in this tiny office for Deep Silver, and they put me in the streaming room. And I just captured Shenmue 3 in their kind of early access demo for the next 4 hours. And it was so weird because this game totally has been airlifted out of 1999 and dropped into the year 2019 with everything. And now, granted, so I haven't played that much original Shenmue. I don't really have a history. I don't really care about the series. So I'm coming into it from the vibe of somebody who appreciates older games, who likes RPGs, who might be sympathetic to the series, but also never really got around to playing Shenmue because it's honestly, if you're going to complain about pacing, this is the series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially the original Shenmue. This one has
Famously.
a bunch of quality of life improvements over the original Shenmue. I can't speak for Shenmue 2. Things like if you need to fast forward to the nighttime, in the original game, you just had to wait. You just had to hang out and wait until nighttime came
It's a
around.
living, breathing world.
Yeah, Shenmue 2 lets you do that, but only when the story calls for it.
Yes.
So sometimes you just don't.
Same
get
with
the
Shenmue
chance.
3,
Okay.
actually. Like sometimes you'll just get a little UI prompt saying effectively, do you want to fast forward until the night so
Yeah.
that you can do this thing? And that's the appeal, like the weird appeal of the original Shenmue is that it was a living, breathing world. You feel like you're in this crazy virtual world. It's at the intersection between original adventure games and then open world sandbox games. Yakuza is the most natural descendant of Shenmue. I've played Yakuza. I enjoy those games.
Sega claims there's no lineage whatsoever, but
Oh,
they're huge liars.
Come on.
Yoshi worked on Shenmue. Like, I don't know what he's talking about.
So Shenmue 3, you're in this little Chinese village, and you're with girlfriend. I'm not exactly. I don't
The
recall her
green
name.
hat girl.
Yeah, green hat girl.
She appears in visions. I assume she has some role in Shenmue 2.
You're hanging out with her, and you're trying to find these thugs. And so you're walking through this village, talking to people. There are a lot of mini games to play, much like in Yakuza. So you can play a game called Lucky Hit, which you drop the little ball and
pachinko.
try to get all the way down. You can play dice. You can race turtles.
Okay, I'm all about the turtle race.
The turtle race is awesome. I was kind of hoping that they'd be the same colors as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. No such luck.
Damn.
There's Kung Fu with really stiff, really stiff Kung Fu action.
Is it like the normal battle system, or?
Yeah, is it still QuickTime based? Sort
It's
of,
not
like,
quick
or
time. It's
button?
like straight up like you're fighting. It's
Okay.
Rock'em Sock'em robots kind of
okay,
thing.
yeah.
How does the turtle race play?
Well, you gotta keep hitting square a lot.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then it'll move, but then
Awesome.
sometimes it'll get stuck, and so you gotta like hit it harder or something like that. I won the
Great,
turtle
great.
race. Yes.
Congrats.
Yeah. Their martial arts training. This game might have one of the worst localizations and or voice acting
Okay,
I've
yeah.
ever
So
heard.
I want to hear about this because I know Yu Suzuki told the returning voice actors, make it sound like it did 20 years ago.
They sure do.
Okay.
Oh my God. So at night, you go to your girlfriend's house or something. You're hanging out. You can walk. She's like sitting here knitting. You walk up and you sit next to her and she's like, hello. Tell me about your father. My father. Well,
Tell me about the
my
four
father
voodoo.
was very strict. Oh, I see.
Oh boy.
What about your father? He was also very strict. And you're like, what is going on with this game? My
I've never
God.
played Shenmue,
Yeah.
but my really good friend Alfredo, for some reason, loved it. So I remember watching him play a lot.
Yeah, I know you just
never
referenced the
expected
Woo-Doo
that.
thing.
But also the Mega 64 sketch of them just doing Shenmue in real life is one of the funniest things I've ever seen without knowing shit about the game, but it sounds exactly like that.
There was a moment where they're like, tell me about the city from the original Shenmue. And I was like, oh, come on, forklifts. Let me talk about the forklifts. And he just goes, it was a port city. And I was like, okay, whatever.
See, I kind of wonder, like, is that bad writing or is Rio just an asshole? Which I feel like is the thing that's kind of permeates through those games. Because where I just finished in Shenmue 2, I finished in a certain district of Hong Kong. And as he was leaving and saying goodbye to people, this little girl goes, Rio, I'll always miss you. And Rio responds, okay, and leaves.
Yeah, no, that's how it is.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's
Jesus
totally like
Christ.
this in Shenmue 3 as well. And it's this weird curiosity. And it's charming at first, actually. You like walk around and go, oh, this is actually kind of a pretty world. I like the looks of this. It's got this kind of HD Dreamcast game vibe, which
Yeah.
I'm totally okay
Yeah.
with.
Looks like Dreamcast games with shaders.
Yes,
basically.
but after 2 hours, maybe, I was like, okay, I think I've had my fill
The
of this.
novelty kind of wore off.
Yeah, I can't imagine actually playing through the entirety of this through an entire game. Like I get it. There are going to be people who will be like, I am all in on Shenmue's story for some reason. I want to see how Ryo's story, like saga, plays out. I hope there's a Shenmue 4 because apparently it's not going to be resolved with Shenmue 3.
Yeah, I think this game takes you through 40% of the story, is what Suzuki said.
It's this crazy
Suzuki
kung fu epic that feels like it's from another time and place, and there are a lot of people who will totally jive with that. I'm sorry. I'm letting you all down. I am not like that. I just can't. I cannot do it.
Yeah.
Were you alone playing the game, or were
Yes,
those people? Oh,
I
wow.
was in a small room talking to nobody, just trying to do every
the
single
service.
event that I possibly could. I was
In
chopping
the
wood
time you had, yeah.
because I needed some money.
It's fine.
It's a weird game.
Really looked at. That's why I forgot if there. I thought there were QuickTime based fighting mechanics in the very first.
There
one, but-
are.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. I remember like learning, at the docks.
So there's like a Virtua
how to
Fighter style
fight.
thing and like
Exactly.
a QuickTime fighting.
Okay, there was both.
It's
But
it's a virtual fighter kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
but-
and you know there's tactics to it. You can't just go in and go whap 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 because in the final boss he will kick your butt if you don't train properly. Like improve your stats.
Does it still do that thing where it says, "Hey, learn this move"? Like someone's teaching you a move. It doesn't actually tell you how to do the move at any point.
My recollection is that you can go and train, and then you're kind of punching a punching bag or something to that effect, and then when you're done, it will say this move is improved or something like that.
So like that's one of my issues with Shenmue is that they will vocally tell you use your feet and fists at the same time.
Well, it has little on-screen prompts.
Okay, now it has on-screen prompts.
Yes.
It used to not, which
my
is
God.
the worst thing ever. So I'd be doing like trying to get the move timing or whatever right for like 15, 20 minutes as you're just watching the same thing happen over and over.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shenmue is a game.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say is
I can't believe you're playing the original.
I finished the original 20 years ago.
Okay, 20 years ago.
Now I'm playing Shenmue 2.
So I gotta play Shenmue 1 and 2 just to get ready for Shenmue 3, baby.
See, here's the thing. I want to watch
What a
somebody
purist.
play the games. I don't want to do them myself. But I guess it kind of falls to me to be the person people watch
you're
to
the
play
one.
the
Yeah,
games.
you're the Shenmue streamer.
Yeah,
now, right?
I'm taking that bullet.
But are you excited?
No.
Hyped for 3?
Not in any way. Like I'm happy the game exists for those people. It's like
Yeah,
it's
Michael
great.
Huber, baby. I'm
It's-
sure he's losing his mind.
Yeah, like it's
There will be people who are just like, yep, I got exactly what I wanted from this game.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy for them. I kind of wish that they had used the opportunity to go
Modernize it.
like, all right, we're going to continue this story, but we're making a modern, freaking, like, awesome game.
But what does that look like? Is it just Yakuza?
I don't know, actually. I think it has a different vibe than Yakuza because it's a kung fu story rather than a crime story,
Right.
right? So the blueprint is there to do a really cool modern update of Shenmue while retaining its original charm because you can still do all the busy work and have the really dense world. But they opted instead to just be like, no, let's roll back 1999. We're back in.
I mean, some of that's a budget thing, though, right? I assume. Like, look, it's Deep Silver published.
I mean,
like,
how
Suzuki's
much
not
money did it get out of
rolling it.
Kickstarter and then also Deep Silver?
I mean, it can't.
They
be
got like I want to say it was like $6 million for the
That's
original
nothing,
Kickstarter.
though, like,
yeah, and then
So,
years
like,
and years
basically
ago.
nothing.
It's nothing.
yeah, but then eggs money and
So
who
that,
knows?
this is perfect because I was going to ask, like, as I reflected on what it used to be, and it seems like they've just kind of stuck with as best they could that structure, and they haven't changed it because I think it would take 10 times, if not 20 times, the effort. But just to finish the point, I honestly feel like the right thing to do, and I think it's impossible we won't see it, is it's the Red Dead Redemption treatment for this game, right? Like, in other words, for me, Red Dead Redemption felt so much like the RPG
A
of a
distant
living
descendant of Shenmue, yeah.
yeah, well, living and breathing in a world where, like, a game where you would go and get excited because you could open every drawer and examine crap and
Right.
stare at it. Like, that's what it was about. And, like, Red Dead has some of those traits now where you're like, I joked when we were talking about it on the show, it has a smell. And it sounds like, this has still a smell to it. It's got there's something about this
Like
world.
really
robust.
granular actions.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's really outdated, so it's a little stale
Yeah.
in terms of the smell. So I don't know. I feel like if they could get it, you guys tell me though. You've been playing it. What if it got a little more like driven action moments that are highly cinematic? With now you're in the city and you can go and like put on clothes and touch everything.
I think a Shenmue 3 that comes from Sega in 2019 would have been that game, but like a kickstarted Shenmue 3.
No,
this
yeah,
is
I
what
didn't
this is what
expect it.
fans want. I think.
Yeah, well, a
It's kinda
small
like
core of
Bloodstained.
fans
Yes.
who have fond memories of the original Shenmue. But I think that someone who's recognized like Yu Suzuki, who has a franchise that at least is recognized, because Shenmue 3 was a big deal when it got announced at Sony in 2015 at the E3 conference. Like, couldn't he have gone to a big publisher like Sony or Sega and been like, give me money, I want to make Shenmue 3, we're going to do a modern update of it. Like, surely you would have been able to do it.
I think if Sega were willing to do that, they would have done
It's
it.
an
but
open
I-
world kung fu game. Come on.
You know what? I think the problem is it's never sold gangbusters, right? And so it's hard to. There's a reason it's on Kickstarter.
The games were
They've
originally
gone to
on
other-
Dreamcast, which was a
Well,
failed console.
Yeah, it came out on a failed console.
Yeah, but even
And then Xbox.
Yeah.
and then Xbox.
Which at the time was not.
But also remember, Shenmue 1 was at the time the most expensive game ever made.
yeah, at the time.
So it had very little chance of ever making back that profit.
Yeah, and I think again that's what brought me back was like the world then in 1999 or 2000, whenever it launched. I guess 2000 maybe.
99.
I mean, it would have come out. It
Shenmue
didn't come
came out
at
in
launch.
Japan in 99.
So 99 was launch.
For its
So-
American launch. It was out in Japan for a year by then. So I think it already came out in Japan. Well,
But
it came out that
anyway,
year, yeah.
For its time, I did remember that of like, holy cow, you can walk down
It
to
was
the
amazing.
docks.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought of Red Dead, where I honestly, I have issues with it, but overall, I was like, oh my goodness, like the world. And so maybe not exactly that, because I think there's a little bit of that like overproduced Hollywood vibe to it, and we don't want
Yeah.
Shenmue to be that, but I think if it could get closer to it, there might be something there.
I mean, yeah, Shenmue was the progenitor of pretty much every open world game that exists today.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, we credit GTA, but I don't think GTA 3 would exist in the same way without Shenmue
Yeah, it would.
existing.
I think that
GTA
it
Do you
would.
think so?
It totally would. I mean, you're
GTA
telling me
2
cops
is-
and robbers in 3D with kind of a sandbox thing. Once the
I-
technology became available,
But
it
I think
would've.
once you get to that sandbox thing is when you start crediting Shenmue for
In
it.
fact, I think GTA 3 probably was produced completely independently of like Shenmue, in the sense of like, did the Rockstar were they even aware of Shenmue? Is what I'm wondering.
Yeah. I mean, they all
They are
learned-
such media consumption whores at Rockstar. I would be shocked.
I mean, that's giving it a lot of credit. Like, I would agree, like all games influence each other, but you could argue that Ocarina of Time like influenced where GTA went as well as Shenmue, right? Like, granted, it was 1998, but in 1996 or maybe even 95, we were seeing like this open world 3D stuff, which at the time was not
that
as-
was the
not a
dream,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
To have a living, breathing sandbox that you could go live in. Like, that was the dream in the 90s, and it was realized in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Tim's getting worried about the studio here.
Yeah,
What's
well,
happening?
here we
No,
got
no, watch
another
that
one.
one back there.
It's on
Tim,
its
just
way
tap
down. I'm just
Tap it
no,
down.
we gotta let it fall
Let's just
naturally.
let it fall
Yeah.
in its
I
natural
look
way.
forward to the
Actually-
hate mail for Shenmue.
While we wait for it to fall, let me tell you about our sponsors. It still hasn't fallen.
It has not fallen yet.
It's gonna fall. Like, if it sticks the entire show, I'm gonna be very impressed.
Yeah, me too.
I
Me
hope
too.
it does
You should
now.
premiere this
Does anybody want to
live.
have take a bet on whether it?
Yeah,
totally
that's what I was
stays
gonna
up?
say. You should do a premiere playback.
This
on
thing's
YouTube so-
going down.
So
Yeah,
people
that-
have a chance to bet on it.
I'm pretty
live.
sure by the end of the post show, this thing will
It's
be
staying
down.
up. I'm on team staying up.
It's basically salty bets, but
I'm gonna go with it's gonna stay up.
I'm
Kat,
gonna go
you,
fall, for
besides
sure.
Shenmue, you wanted to talk about FIFA.
Oh man.
Why?
Do I have to?
What? It's one
yeah,
of the biggest
it's a-
games in the world. What do you mean why?
I mean, do you play?
No.
Do you
but
know
it's-
anyone that plays?
Yes.
Do you name
You
one
do
person?
too.
Name
Think of
one
who plays
person.
this. Think of who plays this all the time.
Craig Barrett.
That's right.
Great. Okay.
Doesn't
cool.
matter. He also plays tons of Destiny. There was a video editor that used to work at IGN on the video team. Great guy. But he plays so much FIFA. It is one of the biggest games out there.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you go outside the U.S. and it's just ridiculous how popular FIFA is.
Yeah.
But we're in the U.S.
Even in the
so
US,
what are your
it's
thoughts?
quite popular.
So
So much hate for.
It's
I
not
have-
hate. It's just setting the stage.
I have a question for you all. Do you guys have a guilty pleasure game where you're playing it and you're like, man, this game's not very good, and I feel kind of bad for actually putting a lot of time into it, but it's kind of my drug of choice, so I'm just going to keep
Spirits
Shenmue
going.
mode in Super Smash Brothers.
Sorry?
Spirits
I
mode
thought
in
you were
Super
going to say
Smash
Mario
Brothers.
Kart.
Yeah.
And Mario Kart Tour. I'm
Tour.
done. I gave up the drug. I had to stop. But
yeah, threw away your
Spirits.
needles, all that.
They're
Yeah.
adding 5 new spirits this week, and I'm stoked. And I shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think
Maintenance. Barrett's on the set.
Uh-oh.
He can't handle it. You just getting rid of him?
Oh, no.
No, you
No,
ruined
no,
our
no,
bets.
we got a bed.
It was gonna stay. Look, he can't even get it off the wall.
He can't even get it off the wall.
Oh, no.
Oh man, Barrett.
We'll
what a
never know.
buzzkill.
You ruined everything.
Buzzkill Barrett.
And, yeah, I don't know. Lately, I just don't have that time.
Yeah,
but I
but
would
you
say
have that game that you go back to again and again, right?
Borderlands
Because it's
at this
kind of like the
point, yeah.
relaxing game. It's like, okay, I can play this.
So my game for that, it's not a bad game. I really like the game and a small team, Rebel Galaxy
Destiny
Outlaw.
too.
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
that
I haven't
it's
played
not a
it
bad
yet.
game.
Is it really
my-
good?
Yes.
Especially that you like.
It's
like,
on my
space
Epic Games
games.
Store.
You literally like deliver cargo and
Oh my
make
God.
money and like fly through this beautiful space, and it's fast.
The ship
You'd like
decal
it.
interface is just Photoshop. Literally, it opens it. It's just a
And you
Photoshop
put on
in the
this
game.
radio that's like it's all these awesome indie soundtracks and classical and jazz and all. You can just boot it up in your ship, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd like it based on what I've heard from you today.
So to be fair, like Tim said, Kat, what are you playing right now? I'm like, well, I'm playing Death Stranding. Can't really talk about that. Link's Awakening, Dragon Quest 11, I guess FIFA. And he's like, great, we'll talk about FIFA. And I'm like, what?
You've
You've already talked most of those to death. But
Fair
I want to
enough.
what is it about FIFA that has you in?
Well, I like soccer for one thing. I like it way too much.
Yes, football. We know everybody, but here in the States,
But you guys are familiar with FIFA Ultimate Team, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people would consider that to be one of the worst things to ever happen to games because FIFA Ultimate Team, it's a card collecting game where you rip packs, kind of like in Hearthstone, right? And then you're getting players out of it. And a lot of people hate it. It's in fact driven a lot of the loot box legislation.
Especially in Europe, yeah.
Yeah, because you have these horror stories in England or whatever of the little kid from, Essex grabbing their parents' phone and buying 500 quid worth of
Right.
packs, which is, making legislators going, what the heck?
that's a sticky wicket.
But then,
Brought it back.
I love it.
but yeah, so people really hate it for a variety of reasons, and yet I can't stop playing it.
Yeah.
It's a really good mode.
You can't stop playing it. How
This
much
is-
money are you putting into
None.
it, though? Okay, cool.
I'm actually not putting any money, but it's really insidious because there are lots of different ways that they're kind of pushing you to put money. It's like, come on, put money in there. Do it.
So have you considered it?
No, because the odds are so bad that I know that if I put, say, $100 into packs, there's a very good chance that I'm not going to get anything, and I'm just going to come away feeling really miserable and really upset.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
But if you win, you'll be on such a high.
There's
Just spend
Many
the
more
money.
hundred
No,
to
I'm just
go.
kidding.
but that's why I don't gamble, right?
Yeah.
Because I can't get
know,
over the
you're-
losing.
Yeah.
But there are people who do love gambling and just can't get over the high of actually winning. And it's that's why it's insidious that like FIFA is totally targeting these people. Actually, I think it's pretty unethical. And that's why I have a lot of self-hatred for actually playing this mode.
Do we know if they've released, because Apex released the odds? Do we know if FIFA has done the
Oh,
same
they
thing?
have, because
So
they're
you
required
can
by
look-
law.
Exactly, yeah. You can look the odds
So
up
the
now,
thing
so-
is that they just list it as the top ones. So they have these special cards, right? It's like Team of the Year, Team of the Week, Team of the whatever. And they will put the pack odds and it'll say less than 1%
in the game?
in the game.
Oh, wow. It's exposed in the game now,
Yeah.
like right in front of your face, and you'd still be like,
So is it like the better players
just-
have like if you wanted Messi, which is literally the only soccer player I know.
Yes.
If you wanted him, then it's harder to get him than it is to get anyone else.
I've never had Messi. Yes, but like getting the odds of a Messi is like really low because the way that they structure the packs is they'll say, "Oh, you'll get 12 things out of this pack, 6 golds and 6 rares." And you're like, 6 rares, you say? That's awesome. Here's the problem. There are so many players in this game because it's drawing from all of world soccer that your chances
right,
of getting
6 out of like 2,500.
the chance of you're getting a Messi, let alone a rare Messi, like a super special Messi, is so infinitesimally small. You might as well be winning the lottery, right? I have never even come close to getting anything
So clear
like that.
clear something up for me real quick. So you're not paying to get the card packs,
No.
but you're saying that you're addicted to playing this mode. So it's not even
Yeah.
just the FIFA part. You're playing the card part. What does that
No,
look
I'm
like?
playing FIFA because it's the one multiplayer mode that they put the most amount of effort into.
the Ultimate Team. So
Yeah.
what
I
is
wonder why.
Ultimate Team from a gameplay perspective?
Yeah, how do you earn the points? And like you're just playing matches, but how do you get into this mode?
So the way it works is you start out with a team and you can like create a formation and everything. You get all these like starter packs, kind of like in Hearthstone. You put all the characters in there and then you can either play against the computer, and if you play X number of games at the end of a certain period of time, you'll get some rewards, or you can play against people again, if you play well enough, you'll like move up the ranks, and then at the end of a particular time period, you'll get rewards. And so it incentivizes playing really well. It incentivizes like skill and everything.
Yeah.
So, but of course, when you start playing, there will always be the people who dump, a
Yeah.
grand into this game and
They pay to
probably have
play.
really good cards
They
right out of the gate.
Come at you, destroy you, and you're like, "Ugh, I kind of need to open some packs.
But it's so satisfying to get a really good player,
Yeah.
to save up enough money or to rip the right pack and go, yes, I got it. Or to build the right team and go, okay, I got a really good team, even if they've got Ronaldo, who is the other soccer player. Even if they got Ronaldo, who is so broken, you can feel like really good about actually stopping them and going, aha,
Is he
I did
Posh
it.
Spice's husband?
No,
Beckham.
that's Beckham.
That's backup.
I also know Pele.
Yeah.
Now that I think about
Pele's
it, yes.
person. He comes to EA.
So they also have a
conferences.
draft mode
like
where if
70?
you put 15,000 coins in, you'll get a token and you can draft all the players. And I totally drafted Pele. Pele is so broken. My God, he's ridiculous.
Does this game have that like single player, like the other EA sports games have a campaign or story
Yes,
mode?
but people are real salty because in their mind, because the single player mode hasn't really been improved that much over the past 10 years, whereas Ultimate Team has been improved a lot. And so a lot of people are very mad about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
very,
see
very
why
mad.
EA would put the money where the money comes back.
Yeah, and when the developers will always be like, "Whoa, no, we totally put effort into the single player mode. See, we added this one thing this time around." And it's like, "Yeah, but you like added objectives and you put a really nice sheen of production values on Ultimate Team. It's obvious where your priorities lie." And not only that, Ultimate Team has totally poisoned the rest of EA because their CEO is Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson came out of EA Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
game.
his reaction to the investors, he basically told the investors, all right, we got FIFA Ultimate Team making so much money. We're going to do this for all of our games now. And that's what directly leads to Star Wars Battlefront 2 and all of the other stuff. And if you go and read a lot of the exposés, I play a lot of EA games. What can I say? If you go and read a lot of the exposés, it'll be like, well, yeah, they wanted a Ultimate Team style mode in Amy Hennig's game.
Yeah.
How?
That's not going to work,
Star Wars Ultimate Team.
And then with Jedi Fallen Order, we're not going to get that? Do you believe that?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
They said.
Yeah,
I
I
think
know.
they
said.
I think they've been burned so badly by Battlefront 2 in particular that they're just trying to run away as fast as they can from that.
I also assume Disney, after last time, is like, hey, we're watching you a bit more closely this
Also,
time.
Respawn, I think, has a certain amount of independence, and
Yeah.
if anything, they'll probably add cosmetics or something later on.
Yeah, seemingly one of Zampella's conditions for being bought was that he sits on EA's board.
They said, they actually said, though, microtransactions, I think, was the word, and they said there will not be any
Yeah,
at launch
they
or
definitely
after.
did. They did
said
say
or
that.
after, though. That was a
Yeah.
huge problem. I was like, or after. That's like,
But
Yeah.
that's
that was
forever.
because that was a thing. Because last year Call of Duty was like, no microtransactions, and then 6 months in, they're like, yes, microtransactions.
See, but they never said or
Eventually,
after.
here it
So
is.
now Respawn's on the line, as
Yeah.
far as I remember
So,
that quote.
segueing now from FIFA to
Okay.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Everybody is like, oh, thank God.
We talked about this a couple weeks ago, but what are your impressions of the game?
Oh, okay. So Fallen Order is basically Metroid Prime 3 meets Dark Souls. And I liked Metroid Prime 3 back in the day because that's the one where you travel to different planets, right?
Yeah.
And you have a lot of freedom to go to those planets. Sometimes you'll arrive at a planet and you won't have the technology that you need to access it, so you got to go elsewhere. They're basically doing that with Fallen Order. Totally cool. The gameplay is fairly granular and very tactical, which I really enjoy. If you just go in and start hacking and slashing with the lightsaber, you're going to have a bad time because a lot of the characters have invincibility frames and that kind of thing, so you have to be really considered. Parrying is a big part of it. The boss battles look awesome, but most important, I think this is the first Star Wars game I've ever seen, and lightsabers have been around since the Atari. One of the earliest Atari 2600 games was this game called Lightsaber Battle Arena or something like that. But lightsabers have not been great in games because they've never really had
They're billy clubs.
yeah, they're like billy clubs. Like in Force Unleashed, it was all about the Force. The actual sword felt like a baseball, or the lightsaber felt like a baseball bat, right? It's the same with Jedi Academy, which did it the best it could, but it had very discreet. You have the single attack and then you have the double attack.
Yeah.
The problem with lightsabers is that they're so powerful. You don't want them to be too OP, but you
Yeah.
also want them to feel real good,
Yeah.
right? Well, I think they've managed to hit the balance in Fallen Order for the
Balance
most
of
part.
Force. Yeah. I agree with you there, and we talked about it a lot more in detail a couple weeks ago. But like, I'm excited. I can't wait to get the code for this game. I hope it comes sooner than later, because the combat feels very satisfying, and I feel like it's going to teach me to be better at this type of game in a way that these games normally don't. Or at least the ones that I play, because I'm not a Souls guy. So it's like, to me, it's more like coming from Devil May Cry 5 this year to this is like very jarring. Where I'm like, fuck, I can't go in and just like do crazy stylish stuff. It's like you got to really kind of wait and hold out. I love the timing of the blasts of lasers of like pulling up to shoot back, but you also, that sense of power is still there, because when it is just stormtroopers you're facing off against, you're taking them down quick once you're actually getting close enough to them or reflecting towards them. But if you get overwhelmed, you're screwed, even by these low level one hit takes them down enemies, because there are those invincibility frames, and there is so much kind of thought put into enemy placement and that idea of just getting completely outnumbered.
I'm excited about this.
It's a really
Yeah.
good vertical slice. I think my main concern is that it's going to end up being too repetitive or too shallow ultimately. I felt really good about what they were showing, and so they didn't let us fight the Ninth Sister, but it was available. Like, you could go up front and try it out. And apparently it was a very hard boss battle. I didn't actually get to try it out because I was too busy going over to Dathomir, which is in the game, which I think is pretty cool. And I was like, okay. So the fact that the Ninth Sister looks like a really intense boss battle where you're having, like, she has a lot of different types of moves that you have to be very careful about, and frames of invincibility. It feels like an actual duel. I was like, that's cool. I really hope that they manage to stick the landing with this game.
Me too. And with that, I hope that there is a lot more of that. And like, 'cause they did show us like somebody that is working on the game that's really good at combat, like facing off against the boss. So that made you really see like what the game can look like,
Yeah, the
as
skill
compared
gap.
to my gameplay, which was not that at all. But I'm hoping that there are a lot of bosses in this game, and I hope it's not just like every planet ends with one.
So refight the Ninth Sister for the third time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey, is Darth Maul in this game?
yes.
He's gonna be. in
He's
this
totally
game.
gonna be
That's
in
not
it.
confirmed, but
If you're going to his home planet, I assume that
You're
you
going to
can't do that.
Dathomir. He's
Yeah.
going to be there.
yeah, I would be shocked if he's not. And,
Okay.
And already, like, not to repeat myself too much, but I love how much they're dipping into characters we know in ways that feel fresher than we've seen. Like, I feel like with Battlefront 2, it's kind of like, oh, here's Han Solo with the beard, and it's kind of like, why?
That's
Yeah.
the thing, is that Battlefront 2 had the movie characters. This feels like more of a classic LucasArts Star Wars game in that it's dipping into the lore outside of the films.
Right.
Specifically Star Wars Rebels. And then some of the other, I mean, that's a big one, right? So the fact that Dathomir is in here, and then apparently like 50% of the planets are going to be ones that we know, they're definitely doing more than just the films.
Dash Rendar.
But
Yeah.
I love
Dash
even, like-
Rendar, make them canon.
we'll see. But with the characters that we know from the
No,
movies,
he
like
is
I
canon.
love the use
Yeah,
of
they never
of Obi-Wan.
uncannoned that.
Is he canon? Wow.
I think Shadow of the Empire is technically canon.
They never.
Dash?
Yeah.
Somebody tell me if
How-
it's not.
How?
It might be Legends.
It must be
GottaFunny.com/gamescast. You're wrong.
It was
Well,
in
they made everything legends.
But the Black Sun is in Rebels, and therefore Black Sun is. But I don't know about Prince Shizor.
But what? I don't think it is, because like they restarted everything with Force Awakens, right?
But
Where it's
Clone
just
Wars
like-
is still canon, and so is Rebels.
But they specifically said
True, they said that. Yeah.
those in the movies are the only things. within the
so
comics
I
and
wouldn't be
stuff.
surprised if I think Shadow of the Empire might actually be Legends. But
Yeah. But Dash Rendar, let's go. That'd be awesome.
yeah, make him canon.
Yeah,
Low rent Han Solo.
that'd be fun.
It is Legends, by the
Ah.
way. Yeah.
All right.
Bring back Dash Rendar. Hashtag.
Justice for Rendar.
That-
Justice for Dash.
We were talking earlier
Let
about
Rendar
Star Wars
host.
games we think are good. That game is not good, but I convinced myself when I was a kid that I really liked it.
See, for me, there was something about it. Even as a kid playing it, I was like,
Hoth was amazing.
this is cooler than it is good.
Yeah.
Like I never wrapped my head around it. The controls always seemed way too
when it
fucked
came out,
up.
it looked so amazing.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
the battle on Hoth with the snow speeders. That was the game that gave us Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everybody loved that
They're like, oh,
level.
that's the fun part.
No.
Cool. Let's make more of that.
That and the IG-88 boss fight are the two things I remember most about Star Wars gaming in that era.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Well, ladies and
Excited about
gentlemen,
this game.
this has been the Kind of Funny Games Cast. Thank you very much for joining us. Kat, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
This has been fun. We'll learn a little thing or two about football. I don't know if you ever heard about it,
Yeah.
Fran.
Soccer.
Big game, Tim.
Yeah, big game.
Sorry,
Big
sir, this
game.
is America.
Yes,
For those-
yes. We're about to do the post show, so stay tuned, you Patreon people. And here we go.
Yeah, I forgot Pele passed away this year, right?
Did he?
Yeah, I
What?
think so.
No.
Yeah, right?
No
He's
way.
still alive.
Really?
Don Pele's alive.
I swear.
Stronger
I looked
than
it up.
ever.
So I thought.
Fred's like, oh wait, no, it's not Monday yet. Never
I
mind.
looked it up because I thought
That's embargoed information.
maybe it
Death
was
Stranding
false
next
report.
week, and also Pele's death.
Iconic football player Pele is not dead. It's the first thing that comes up for me.
Important to know.
It's not what this dies at 78, but this was.
Well, now it says he's
not dead.
79.
It was a hoax.
So,
Oh, it was a hoax. There
Was
you
a
go.
hoax.
man.
I think I would have known if Pele had died.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought too, because I was like, oh, is he in his 70? And I was like, wait, did he pass away?
He's
And I
old
looked it
enough,
up.
yeah.
Of course, it was the top story, but
Yeah.
He was on the stage at EA's press conference several years ago, and
yeah,
that
3 or 4
that
years ago.
interview made me want to die.
Oh, yeah, he was,
Yeah.
that's
Because
good.
like I understand
Sounds
from a
horrible.
soccer perspective
Kev, can you
why
bring
that
up
was
the chat?
cool.
Yeah.
But like
For
from
gamers?
it's like okay, it's cool to see Pele. I guess
Dude, I got fake news.
you got fake news.
I'll say
Like,
this.
meaning I
he's
remember
dead,
it
he's dead
happening.
in America.
Yeah.
He's not dead in
That's
India.
the
Yeah, no, it
Mandela
was.
effect.
I think it was
Yeah.
a really big hoax. I think I read it, fell for it, and I don't know that I ever saw the correction. I don't know.
Han Solo
Thanks,
has a beard
Facebook,
because
right?
he wanted to be like the coolest man in gaming, Greg Miller. Did you see that photo Jen posted this morning of Greg playing Death Stranding?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I legitimately, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, it's weird Jen found a guy that looks like Greg, kinda. Because, like, he has his hair up to here. He has, like,
His
this
hair.
giant, like, hobo beard.
Yeah.
The worst beard.
The hobo beard.
He did have a hobo beard.
Yes.
Are we talking about Han Solo or Greg Miller?
I was talking about Greg Miller. I never finished Battlefield or Battlefront 2.
I sure did
The
because I
campaign.
reviewed that game.
I did too.
Man, that was a game.
It really was, man. It had so much potential, but like I disagree with you, friend, so much. It just did not play well.
The
It
Starfighter-
looked great.
the
sounded
Starfighter
great.
combat was amazing.
Yeah.
Starfighter stuff was great. That when you're Luke on that planet, that's the worst use of a lightsaber. Like that didn't feel good.
Okay,
at
that
all.
if that was that mission in the Green Planet or
Yes.
whatever, that was bad.
The
that
heroes-
was
bad.
That was bad.
But then you're cool. It's like you're Leia on
the
on
black-
Naboo, which as an idea, very fucking cool. But the gunplay of that didn't feel good. Like the campaign stuff, I feel never let you sink into a moment long enough to like introduce cool ideas mechanically.
Yeah,
and it
no,
just
it
kind of
was-
shuffled you to the next set piece.
it did. Yeah.
So my problem with that game very early on was I hate it in a game where a character is clearly villainous and is lying to you to get you to do something, but your character doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
And I'm
Just
like,
like,
I get
hello?
it. Yeah, they're like, hey, do this thing. We're doing this for the Empire, and like we're totally, we're the good ones. I'm like, this is
But
clearly a
you're
fucking
not.
lie. Yeah,
And
like
you're right. Like that's the biggest problem with it is that we were promised here's the first story after Return of the Jedi, before Force Awakens, the Disney canon
Yeah.
has seen. It's going to take place right after the Battle of Endor. We're going to see what happened. It's like we didn't though.
Yeah.
It's like we didn't see the things from the Empire's perspective. It was
What
just
happened
like
wasn't that interesting. No.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Because
Shit,
you
man.
kill your buddy who's a TIE pilot in his TIE fighter, so you don't even really get to see him die. He's just like, oh, there he is. You're fighting him. Oh, he's dead now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. Well, that happened.
Yeah, I like the blaster combat in it, and then that's the thing. Like, this is coming from someone who I gave Anthem right at 6.8, but I liked it. I appreciated it. I still think it's a 6.8, and I think that's the difference. Of some people just aren't up for that, but like in other words, like meaning I'm down with pieces of games that are done well, or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it definitely had some really bad stuff in it, but like overall, I was like, no, like it was a decent effort. And I enjoyed parts
I'm
of
with
it.
you there. It
You know
was
what I mean?
decent. I
Like,
guess
it wasn't bad. That's all I'm saying.
If I
All
had,
the things
if I had
that I
reviewed
was-
Anthem, I would have given it a 1 out of 5.
Wow,
I think that's
that bad.
not only the worst game of the year, it's one of the worst games
What?
ever made.
What? It definitely is
Wow.
not that
Are you
bad.
kidding me? It was so broken that the loot didn't actually work, and they had to patch it.
That was-
because
but-
the level 1 gun was just as powerful as like the top level guns. The
Yeah.
progression was completely busted in that game. You have like they just they basically give you everything at the start, and then there's like nowhere to go from it. It's
Yeah, there wasn't a lot to do. It
it's
had
such a
its-
poorly designed looter shooter. It's so bad.
If you didn't play it past, the end and got into the end game, which is where the good parts are, that's the difference. And like, yeah, I sort of, that's how I play these games. I sped past all that, and I was like, whoa, yeah, that story absolutely was like, it was thrown in the middle of this online persistent world thing they were trying to do, and I was happy to get past it, but honestly, the mechanics of the 4 javelins were awesome, production-wise. I mean,
It's a
I thought
great
they-
idea.
They had tons of potential, but yeah.
I mean, it tells you all
kinds
you
of
need
stuff
to
is broken.
know that They didn't even have the flying, which was the best part until the head of DICE comes over
Yeah.
and just has a demo that they had kind of thrown it in
Yeah.
as a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we love that. And he's like, yes.
Patrick's like,
thank
just
you.
do that.
Patrick Soderland was like, yes. Yes.
Yeah, but it's a perfect example because I was like, I understand why you would give it a 1 out of 5, and I wouldn't try to change your mind. But for me, I was like, no, there was parts I appreciated. I would have liked to see it be the 8.0 that, it should have been.
It makes me sad because I really like BioWare. I have very
But what
fond
does
feelings with
BioWare
them.
mean at this point?
It doesn't mean anything,
Yeah.
honestly.
EA
I think
big.
I guess this is the Drag EA podcast, but if you look back at where they were
said
10
Force
years ago
Awakens was good.
and
It's
the
potion,
position that they were then when they had, multiple interesting franchises. They had Mass Effect 2 coming out in the year,
Yeah.
NBA Street Volume
Dragon
2.
Age Origins.
I mean, there was an EA at the beginning of the generation that
good.
was like, "Hey, we're gonna take another chance on Mirror's Edge. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Gamers want that."
So FIFA was on the way up at the time. Like, I mean, NBA Live was still around. And you fast forward to where they are 10 years ago. Oh my God, it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's too bad.
they still got some big stuff. So
Tim, what are the plans for Extra Life breakouts
Extra
this year?
breakouts this year. I don't know.
Do we have Extra Life plans, like a
No.
schedule or
There's,
anything?
there's
yet?
never a plan for Extra Life. The plan for Extra Life is 24 hours of shenanigans that's going to make money for the kids.
Okay, I want to come on and play some games. I don't know
Anytime
what
we
they're
make
doing.
plans, anytime we try to break it down hour by hour, it falls apart within 2 hours. And we're so behind, and it just turns into a disaster.
We're very excited because we're doing Extra Life for the first time over at US Gamer this year.
Hell yeah.
awesome.
4-hour main live stream with Eric Van Ellen. We're going to have people from all over the Gamer Network, including Eurogamer and that kind of thing, on the
Awesome.
show. We're going to try and get as many guests as we possibly can. Eric is going to slam a lot of, Red Bull and try and stay alive. Apparently, he's done this thing before.
Yeah, he asked me like, "Hey, can you come and do something?" I'm like, "Maybe." Depends on what hour. He's like, "I have to look at that."
I'm going to totally come on the show and, I don't know, play something. Maybe Madden. Maybe River City Girls. Who knows?
Hey, that looks. Have you played it yet?
I have not, but I want to try it.
It looks
Yeah.
awesome. I
Yeah.
haven't tried it out yet.
Now that new Steam local thing is out, I'm gonna give that a shot.
Yeah, Kevin actually stays up 24 hours every year for Extra
Wow,
Life.
that's ridiculous.
He does the whole thing.
See, I did a 3 or 4 hour live stream for the SNES Classic, and by the end of that 4 hours, I was just wrecked. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know how you could do 24 hours.
No, yeah, I've
I
done-
respect.
I
Yeah,
did Games Daily,
totally.
and I've done this, and I'm already like, "Fuck, I want to go home."
Yeah.
Like,
I'm tired. This
yeah,
job's hard.
it's funny that being on camera and performing, right? It mentally takes it out of you. There's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
turning off the fact that whether it's 5 people or it's thousands of people are staring at you, like you're in a mode and your posture's up, and you absolutely get tired doing
Oh,
it. I
yeah.
mean, you guys can attest to it. You'll
No,
have
it-
just
the-
a few shows in a day sometime, and
Oh
you're
my
like,
God,
oh,
yeah. The moment
mentally.
that you take a break is when it's all over. You
That's
can't
right.
stop.
Your
You
adrenaline-
need to
as
just
soon as you let it
keep
down.
going. You're gonna be fine. The moment you get a second to be like, you can't do another show.
Yeah.
Like you're just fucking over.
Yep.
And like we talk about this a lot, but we have a rule here where you can't 3 shows. If you're on 3 shows in a day, that is the absolute max, and we don't want that to happen. Like
Yeah.
if we see on the calendar there's 3 for usually it's me or Greg that'll be on that. It's like no. How can we move this so
Yeah.
you're only on 2?
Yeah.
2 is totally manageable, but that's like you're hitting the brink. Once you get to 3, you can totally see the quality just
the mental
dips.
down.
yeah, I got called in because Greg's on too many shows today. Can you step in for Games Daily? I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right, sure."
And thank God, because Greg gets very angry.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Once
He doesn't
burns
show it on
out.
the content,
Yeah.
but God.
Oh, that is exactly it, though. You get grumpy after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a natural, ugh. I just want to lay down for a few, right?
Yeah.
I think
Cameron
that-
Kennedy says, chat, should I watch T2 for the first time tonight or try to finish Control? Watch T2. Because, tomorrow our interview of Terminator 2 goes up, and you can watch that.
Ooh.
And Cameron Kennedy made the intro for all of that. So I can't believe he made the intro for Terminator in review, and you haven't even seen T2. The best one.
Wait.
No, it's the
Kevin
original
hasn't
Terminator is the best.
No, Cameron Kennedy.
Oh,
Which
Cameron.
one?
The original is.
Honestly, it's closer than I would have ever given it credit for because we just watched them back to back.
This is like Alien and Aliens discussion.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Just like
It totally
it
is.
totally is. Yeah.
It's one of them is way more like action Hollywood, and the other is like kind of dark and
It's
like
a gritty
interesting.
survival story.
Terminator's a horror movie.
this may be-
Terminator
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
1.
Alien.
This may be unfair to
and
say,
Terminator
but
probably.
Terminator 2 does not play as well without Terminator 1, without having seen Terminator 1.
Oh, no.
Terminator 1 is much better to stand alone.
I saw Terminator 2 first.
Really? Wow.
It's like a really well-made, slick action film, one of the best ever.
Yeah,
Obviously,
it's amazing.
I mean, I could watch it at any time. And it really takes the ideas of the original Terminator to their logical extension. As far as I'm concerned, Terminator 1 and 2, that's it. But at the same time, at the very end, you have, I don't know, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, don't spoil it because he hasn't seen it yet.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but at the very end, it has a really cartoony moment that will always drive me crazy, and it is really indicative of the different attitude of Terminator 2.
That is a moment that like it feels very much in place with 80s nostalgia. Like
Yeah.
I can't think of it as existing if I were watching it live as a kid. Like that first time, I don't know how I would feel about it. But as I think about it as a memory of like, hey, that's my childhood, it makes sense there.
The thing about Terminator 2, and this is the last thing I'll say about this because we talk a lot more in depth tomorrow when it goes live, but the reason I give it the edge over 1 is it is such a perfect movie. When you're looking at from film craftsmanship, every single scene leads into the next. Every single scene has a reason. Every single one. Right. And it's like, it's so rare you can look at a movie and be able to say that.
Yeah, and it speaks to the editing too, being able to
It's
just
fantastic.
like everything leads without it ever hitting a spot where it's like, why'd they leave that in, or
Yep.
why was it
It
cut
has so
that
many
way?
classic moments as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
It's
Oh,
Dark Fate next week.
I
We'll see.
forgot to mention I've been playing Ring Fit Adventure.
Oh, man,
fuck.
yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
we should talk about that.
Are you built?
No, well,
Everybody's been.
I
talking
was
about
because
that.
like you can only play it for 30 minutes a day, really, or otherwise you get too exhausted. So I haven't really played that much. But you have like a character, like a little, I don't know what you call it, like a tiki
Yeah, it's
head
a
or
weird
something.
Avatar thing that you make, right?
No, not that thing.
Wait,
like
why do you have a
the,
tiki
The
head?
one it like floats alongside you and it's like your guide.
Oh,
like
it's
your,
like your
your
navy.
Nintendo guide thing. Yeah. It sounds exactly like David Cross in a way that's really off-putting.
Really?
Yeah, like go look up videos. It is exactly like to the point where like, is this David Cross?
Maybe it is.
Like just kind of
wonder that.
Is this David Cross a kind of funny investigation?
Yes. I should just email Nintendo and see like, hey, did you get David Cross for this game?
Breaking, exclusive,
I think
kind
we
of
would
funny.
have known by now, though. But
Mr. Yasman 3000 says, has anyone seen the first episode of Watchmen? I haven't.
I'm explicitly avoiding it because I liked the original comics so much
Yeah.
that I'm just like, this stands alone. I don't need any more Watchmen in my life.
How is it, Kevin?
really,
Yeah, there's just some things where I'm just like, I don't want any more of this. I think I hold the original work in such high esteem.
did you skip the movie?
It's
too,
a
then?
direct sequel.
I watched the movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, so you
didn't
feel
like the movie?
I like the movie, but it's definitely.
I have some issues.
I
like
with it.
parts of the movie.
I really like, and I said this today on Screencast, but the Watchmen, the series, is a direct sequel to the comic. So they dive into some stuff. Like it starts out really fast and like kind of.
It's an interesting place to pick up.
Yeah, it moves.
Does it
where
pick
it's-
up from the comic or the movie?
The
'Cause
comic,
the
because
comic.
like it,
Okay.
Yeah,
it's
so
directly
like,
reference to squid.
Yeah.
like a
Squid
lot.
time.
Yes.
yeah, like it rains squid at one point that like kind of dissolve into nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and I'm curious to see where the story goes. It was a little bit too, like, I wanted a little bit more information, and
Right.
it's very, very vague. That being said, I really like the movie, specifically because the change that they make to the end of the movie.
Really? So
Yeah.
you like the ending a lot more?
Yeah, because it's just like interdimensional squid from nowhere that comes in and destroys. I get how random that is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I like the idea of Dr. Manhattan being used as, for so long, he was this hero that made America great into now the enemy of the world where everyone's scared of him. Yeah.
I think my frustration with the original Watchmen movie was that it was a slavish adaptation. And also, they lean a little too much into making Rorschach a badass.
Yeah.
Which,
well, I mean,
I mean-
I liked it, but, you know,
Yeah.
I was pretty young
Where in
when
the
it came
comic,
out, yeah.
he's explicitly not a good person.
Yeah.
And Rorschach is one of those characters that is kind of like from Breaking Bad, Walter White.
Right.
Where people are like, man, what a badass. And you're like, actually,
Like,
no,
you
he's
know,
a terrible person.
He's fucked up and
Yeah.
broken. Yeah.
Love it.
Well,
And
let
that's
us not
where the-
idolize this person.
In the comic, when they show that moment of him breaking, it's like, ugh, what a good what a good moment. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, terrible moment, but yeah.
Watchmen's it's a light read, you know. Pick it up and read it before bed one night.
I like Watchmen a lot more before I started thinking about Alan Moore as a person.
Alan Moore's such an interesting.
What's wrong with Alan Moore?
Besides all the like rampant Islamophobia and crankiness,
I haven't seen it.
Oh, is he Islamophobic?
yes, like
Ooh.
crazy.
Okay.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
you should look it up. He's not great.
Okay. Never learn about your
man.
heroes, I guess.
2019.
Yes.
What a time to be alive. Ladies and
Don't
gentlemen.
look it up.
This has been the Kind of Funny Games Cast post show. Thank you very much for joining us. And for all you Patreon people, if you want to watch Greg's whole extended Outer Worlds preview that he pre-recorded, check out the full video that's going to be up on Patreon tomorrow. Until then, love you. Bye.
Bye.